not narratives on top of it, truthful to the data. And where he's having problems and he thinks that he needs to, change course, be honest to admit it. I'm seeing here, they've just given us the order paper addendum. I'm seeing here Customs Bill 2026, Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026, Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026, Excise Bill 2026. It was just handed to us. All of these are tax bills. These are all revenue bills. Is it that because, you remember yesterday in our press conference we said revenue is underperforming significantly, that's why now they are going back to the debt markets, it has implications for our debt sustainability. So, for example, if the minister comes and he says, listen, I admit that our revenue measures have not performed, we didn't get it right, and therefore we want to make amendments. That's why I'm bringing these bills. I think it's something that we can then all have a look at and as a republic make progress forward. If, for example, he wants to say that maybe by some miracle the revenues exceeded expectations and therefore these bills are to reduce the thresholds as well, we'll be happy to hear it. So I think first is to be candid. Second, where there are deviations, to explain how they are going to correct those deviations. And thirdly, not to use it as a platform to do new announcements, but to use it as a platform to account for what has been approved already.
Dr. Nkrumah is the ranking on the Economic Committee, speaking to us on what their own expectations are, telling us that they've already gotten their order paper. There are a number of revenue bills that have been brought. Of course, as of now, we're unable to tell whether it will lead to an increase in tax or a reduction in taxes. It could be anything. It could be some minor tweakings that the government will be looking forward to doing towards this. So let me talk to Honorable Joseph Kwame Kumar from Kintampo. Honorable, the minority say they expect the finance minister to tell the truth about the true state of the economy. You in the NDC have consistently said that the economy is doing well. What are your own expectations of the finance minister when it comes before you in the next hour or so?
As usual, we want truth to be told to Ghanaians about the state of the economy now. Since the NDC took over power, you know that consistently what is yes is a yes to Ghanaians and what is no is a no to Ghanaians. The NDC, having come to power, having been favored by Ghanaians since in the inception. For instance, if we go to DACF, we have allocated 80% of the common fund to the metropolitans and district assemblies. And out of that, we've made a reset agenda there that 20% of that DACF is solely for basic educational infrastructure. And as I'm telling you, EduWatch, an NGO that is neutral, is telling me, the Vice Chairman of Education Committee, that the whole of the 8 years that had passed before GM came to power, the implementation of educational infrastructure was 0.5%. But now we are having every district at least one educational infrastructure. If it is not a sales unit classroom block, it is teachers' accommodation. If it is not teachers' accommodation, it is about a nursery block. This is what we are talking about, okay? So implementation, so far not less than 700 infrastructure, business school infrastructure is on the ground. 1.5 years, my brother. You are aware, Joy, you have been very current in the system. Have you heard of any parents complaining about when schools are going to unceremoniously break or reopen? Everybody is on a comfortable move. We know when our daughters and children are coming from school, no school headmaster is complaining about shortage of food or otherwise. Yes, they did complain a bit about perishables, and just they were released. WAEC, West Africa examination, you know, nobody is complaining about lack of funds to repair their machines or to pay markers and all those. You see, these are the benchmarks that we should use to know that the country is doing very well.
So in your perspectives, things are good?
Things are good. You see, things are good. The health sector, through DACF, every municipality, every district is having a chip compound that is going on. The Mahama Care, we had a briefing at Volta region recently. They have implemented every region. People who are listening to you, if you are a cancer patient, every region, Mahama Care has started by way of a coordinator in every hospital. If you go to the regional level, If you have cancer or any chronic disease that Mahama has promised about Mahama Care, there are coordinators there. Go, they will process you and you'll be treated free. Osedo Mahama. My brother, you see, the government has come to work and not to joke with anybody. So the finance minister coming to represent His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is coming to tell us more. Just the day before yesterday, we approved educational fund, of which is a loan of about $300 and something, $30 million. Okay, almost 86% of the fund is going into educational infrastructure. Okay, the road minister has gotten about $500 million. And Kwaku, do you know, those are going into feeder roads. And the road minister did indicate on the floor of Parliament that, look, they have negotiated now, headed to this, before this. Those funds, they will tell you some are for land cruisers, some are to be used for workshops and what have you. This government has insisted that they don't want any consultancy from any foreign person. They want their feeder roads engineers. They trust them enough. They should do that. And because of that, as much as 90-something% of the fund is going to be used for the construction of roads. This is what we say about Papa in the local balance to say that, look, the government is really for the people, right, and it's of the people, it's by the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Kumala. I'll talk to Honorable Akwesi Akwa, who is a member of the Health Committee. He's been in there. What he expects to be the minister's work when it comes to health. I mean, health is one of the big ticket items people have been looking at. What are your own expectations generally of the finance minister today, but zooming specifically into some of the big ticket sectors like health? What will you be looking at?
I think that the big controversy on health now is about Agenda 111. I mean, the last time the minister came here to give us a main budget, he mentioned that government had earmarked $100 million to do 10 Agenda 111. And we had our doubts because, you see, if you look at the Agenda 111 itself, each hospital must be equipped with equipment amounting to about $4 million. And so if you say you are providing $100 million for 10 hospitals, I do not know what you're going to do with that. The last time the health minister came to Parliament and he came to answer questions on Agenda 111, he said that now Cabinet says it's going to do 35 Agenda 111. If we have not had any information on the 10, the $100 million were 100 million cedis were allocated for. How then do you jump to 35? And so if they want to be truthful to us, we want to see how much they have earmarked for this 35, and then we will follow suit to know which ones are going to be completed.
Is it your view that the government perhaps don't want to complete the Agenda 111 because it's a legacy of the NPP administration, and they will say in response that, listen, the NPP government should not have started 111 facilities across the country at a go when you did not have dedicated source of funding for all of those? How do you respond to that? Plus, whether you view the NDC government's reticence as perhaps they do not want to finish it because it's your legacy?
Now they are doing 24-hour markets all over. Even in my constituency, we have already 3 markets, but they are allocated money to do 24-hour markets. The Domahin has spoken. A lot of people have said that it is more important to have hospitals than markets. You know, because why would you want to grow an economy, a buy and sell economy, when every economy grows on industry, on productivity? You understand? Yes, if you build a market, you definitely have people to come and take the stalls and start selling. How many people have money to buy from these stores? Those who are already sitting in various markets are complaining people don't buy. You understand? So we don't understand this government, why they will want to leave the Agenda 111 and play lip service to them. If you are saying that we've littered the place with this Agenda 111 hospital, what are you doing with the 24-hour market? At least we are sure that we are working towards the 2030 health for all. You understand? The global vision of having access to health facilities by 2030. You know, so if clearly, there are some districts that don't have facilities, some districts that don't have hospitals, and we decided to grant them this opportunity. At least look at those that are in dire need and make sure you provide them. And so if they want to play politics with health, Ghanaians are there watching.
And before that, Alexander Akwesi Akwa there telling us about what he thinks is the lack of priority on the part of the government. He does not understand why the government is on a campaign to build markets and not hospitals and all of that. So we'll speak to a number of members of parliament who are coming in, but more and more members of parliament are now arriving here in parliament. proceedings have begun, and it is 1:45 p.m. That is the time Finance Minister Dr. Castle Atuforsen is expected to be here to present the mid-year budget review. But if everything we've seen with budget reviews, the budget itself is anything to go by, usually they do not start on time. And so we do not expect that at 2 p.m. the Finance Minister will be standing at the dais presenting the mid-year budget review. It may take some time, perhaps 2:30 or even 3 p.m. Also because Speaker of Parliament Alban Baguen, as we speak now, is simultaneously delivering a lecture on the Supreme Court at 1:50. Usually he likes to be in the chair when these momentous occasions are underway in Parliament. So perhaps we'd have to wait for that event to end, for the Speaker of Parliament himself to take the chair before proceedings as it relates to the mid-year budget review will begin. But we've been hearing from MPs on both sides. The political footballing game is ongoing. No party is willing to cede grounds because they say either the government lacks the priority or they believe that the government has achieved enough. So the NPP in particular should be praising them for the kind of work they've done. And so it's going to go on. Tomorrow, it will be the first day of debate on this. On Saturday, Parliament will sit. There will be a number of debate. On Monday, there will be debate until I think on Tuesday when the minority and majority leaders will all conclude. You see behind me the Chief Director of the Finance Ministry together with the Clerk to Parliament entering the chamber. That perhaps a signal that things are going to happen pretty shortly with the Finance Minister arriving very soon. So, MFR, Kofi J, and the rest of the team, this is the situation here. A lot of people with a lot of expectations in terms of what Dr. Castle Atuforsen should be presenting, with so many others, those in the majority saying that the government has laid an important blueprint, they've delivered on an important policy premise, and that Dr. Castle Atuforsen is going to build on it in this. Kojo Nkrumah talking to you and talking to us about the specifics of the number of bills that have already been listed on the other paper, revenue bills that he says to signal that perhaps because revenue isn't doing very well, the government is looking to tweak some of those laws. We'll get to see all of that when proceedings, when it comes to the mid-year budget review, begin pretty shortly on the floor of Parliament, just behind me, MFA.
Solid pleasure, Kuku. Thank you so much. I trust you to bring me everything that would be missing even when we are not in Parliament. And just exactly when the minister walks in, we definitely will take viewers back. But exactly at 2 p.m., my colleague Darokwa will take over and continue with conversations, the build-up, the during, and even the after. But Kofi, you picked up a few things when Kweku was engaging some of the members of Parliament. Kojo Nkrumah made some comments which you caught. Your ears are really smart. Yeah. Let's run them through. What are some of the expectations per the ranking on economy and finance?
What we are learning is that maybe there will not be any new taxes that will be announced. And if you know how Ghana's media budget works, it's when you are in crisis, that's when you expect new taxes. But don't be surprised if you hear, just according to the minority, modifications and some rationalization, amendment to some of the existing taxes. And as Kojo Nkrumah was speaking, we were counting the number of amendment that government has actually tabled currently on the order paper, and the minority actually put that out. 4 of them, including excise duties and all of that. But MFA, you were talking about the Nkoko Nketenkete. It's a big project because I'm looking at the budgetary allocation here. It's big money going to the Nkoko Nketenkete program this year. And if you look at the budget, it's around 245 million Ghana cedis that we've budgeted for Nkoko Nketenkete. So if people are eating them and not rearing them, we should be worried. 245 million cedis.
I mean, they have eaten 245 million cedis.
If the government has released that money.
No, I think there's been a certain pushback by the minister against that money hasn't been released. So far, what they've been spending is from previous budgets. That's what he's been saying.
But I want to walk you through some of the big, commitments in the 2026 budget, and we'll try and see whether they are at risk, on track, or low. So first one is a big push. Our assessment shows that currently it's a bit low, although it's on track. Roads and Highways Ministry, their maintenance, we understand that there's a new money coming in, but it's still low. Education is on track. School feeding program on track. NHIS and free, primary health care, because of the underperformance we are seeing in the NHIS, or the NHIL levy in the first quarter is still on track but very low. Ghana Medical Trust Care, which is the Mahama Care, currently on track. 3 new region hospitals is at risk. Complete 10 Agenda 111 hospitals at risk. Energy sector shortfall payments currently low but still on track. Legacy IPP debt on track. Rural electrification phase 1 low or at risk. Oil palm finance window. That's something the finance minister was very particular about. That is low, and we believe that this year it is at risk. Women Development Bank on track, but it's been low because the finance minister needs 400 million Ghana cedis. He says that money is in an escrow account at the finance ministry. 24-hour economy program slow, and at the moment our assessment shows that it is at risk.
Okay, thank you for that good wrap. By the time you'd be seeing us after 2 p.m., you'd be seeing the GUTA president. And so I may just want to take your final words, especially on what we've said so far. You've been quite apt on what you hope to see or hear from the finance minister, but I'll give you the final.
Yes, one major expectation that we want the minister to make pronouncement on is just what Kwame just...
Kofi.
Yeah, that has to do with the women's development, women bank. Yes, that is one area that GUTA wants to see it's operationalized because, like we all know, we have a lot of women doing business as far as trading is concerned, and we think with the coming in of the Women's Bank, it will enable most of our women to access some facilities at a very moderate interest rate. So we want to hear some pronouncement as to when this Women's Bank will come into operation, because there has been a lot of talk about Women's Bank, but we are not seeing anything about it. So we want to hear, some specific pronouncement as to when its operation is going to start, so that at least some of our women, can go there and then access some funding. My last thought will have to be on this Nkoko. Yeah, I think the intention of the government was to, bring in this policy as a means of curtailing the huge import bill that has to do with importation of poultry, because government spends, I think, close to about $400 million by way of importing poultry. I think it was. I see it as a good intervention, to curtail this huge sums of money that government is spending. But maybe the way and manner government is implementing it is not the best, because you cannot give somebody maybe 100 birds. 100 birds or 200 birds, and then you tell the person to take it home and then do
business with it.
Yes, it doesn't work that way. So I was thinking maybe they should have teamed up with the Poultry Farmers Association, so that they could work, cooperative, so that they could work something out better for them to be able to achieve their ultimate goal. So that would be my final submission.
Well, unfortunately, Mark, you don't have final submission because you're in this with us together all through and through. But Kofi, I would be knocking off. I just know that some way, somehow, you would be back here some way, somehow. But in the meantime, we'll pause here. This is our continuous coverage of the 2026 Media Budget Review that will be presented by the Finance Minister in Parliament. If, as promised, 2 p.m. we shall go live to Parliament and bring you that presentation. But otherwise, do stay with us for that continuous 360 coverage as my colleague Daryl takes over. Thank you for watching.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,000 247.
Abili, wabadim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number 1, let's bring Baby Girl. Let's bring. You did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it dey carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it dey make water dey flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
When I was young, I asked my mother the secret of hair vitality and health. She said, the right food, the right exercise, the right amount of sleep, and the right blood tonic. Nescafe Blood Tonic is effective for the treatment of anemia, lack of appetite, and stressful conditions in both adults and children.
Nescafe Blood Tonic, the right family blood tonic. Another quality product from Ernest Chemists. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
So this strategy will lead. Oh no, not again.
Say, relax. The generator will come on now.
The generator is not working.
Why stress yourself when the experts are just one tap away? Introducing Left Power, the smart emergency support hub from Left Signature Limited. With Left Power, certified engineers respond fast, anytime, anywhere. No delays, no stories.
Hello, sir. This is Left Signature Limited. Your request has been received and our engineers are already on their way. Please relax. We've got you covered.
This is professional. Every Left expert is certified, verified, and can be tracked in real time. Oh, you'll know they're coming before they even arrive. From electrical engineering and solar power systems to data center management, cloud services, smart automation, and software development, Left Signature delivers excellence, fast, reliable, and professional. Left Power.
Your solution is just one tap away.
Available on Play Store and App Store.
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better. Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP Print Center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time.
Ghana, are you ready for the stage event of the year? After an unforgettable debut, the Left audience asking for more. No Man of God, the musical, returns bigger and better. A spectacular blend of music, drama, dance, film, and breathtaking performances. Date, Friday, 24th July 2026. Venue, National Theatre. Tickets, 200 cedis regular, 500 cedis VIP. For tickets, visit www.nomanofgod.com or call 0542-972-220. This is not just a show, this is an experience.
So, this strategy will lead.
Oh no, not again.
Sir, relax. The generator will come on now.
The generator is not working. Why stress yourself when the experts are just one tap away? Introducing Left Power, the smart emergency support hub from Left Signature Limited. With Left Power, certified engineers respond fast, anytime, anywhere. No delays, no stories.
Hello, sir. This is Left Signature Limited. Your request has been received and our engineers are already on their way. Please relax. We've got you covered.
This is professional. Every Left expert is certified, verified, and can be tracked in real time. Oh, you'll know they're coming before they even arrive. From electrical engineering and solar power systems to data center management, cloud services, smart automation, and software development, Left Signature delivers excellence, fast, reliable, and professional. Left Power.
Your solution is just one tap away.
Available on Play Store and App Store.
As the sun rises over the city of Accra, its warm glow settles on one of the city's most thoughtfully planned communities. Lakeside Estate. And once again, something exceptional is unfolding. After the successful sale of our 4-bedroom Orca at Lakeside Hills, a new masterpiece is about to make its debut. An exquisite 4-bedroom story Orca home overlooking a breathtaking landscape of the Abri Mountains. This remarkable home now features a total floor area of 330 square meters, set on a generous 7,140 square foot plot. Step inside and you're welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to our special live coverage of the 2026 Media Budget Review. I'm Daryl Kwao, and for the next few hours, we'll bring you comprehensive coverage, analysis, and reactions as Finance Minister Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson presents government's assessment of the economy to Parliament. This review comes at a time when government says the economy is showing signs of stability with inflation easing, a relatively stable cedi and improved investor confidence and continued implementation of fiscal reforms. While today's presentation is expected to provide an update on how the economy has performed in the first half of the year and whether government remains on course to achieve its fiscal and growth targets. While mid-year budget reviews do not typically introduce major new policies, they are an important measure of government's performance against the commitments made at the beginning of the year. And of course, investors, businesses, development partners, and ordinary Ghanaians will be paying close attention to what today's statement says about revenue mobilization, expenditure management, debt sustainability, and the outlook for the remainder of the year. So it's 2 o'clock. We're expecting that the Finance Minister will make his presentation. We will be heading to Parliament to find out what's happening there right now. But I just want to introduce my guests in the studio this afternoon. Partner Deloitte, Yalate, it's been a long while, but good to see you here in the studio. Also, Magbedu Abuaje, who is the Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And of course, the data guy, he's got all the figures and he's been massaging them for us the whole of this afternoon. We are going to hear from him because you have some interesting data, Kofi, on expenditure, debt, IMF program. All these things are very important as we look ahead to the presentation this afternoon. But before we come to all of that, we want to head straight to Parliament. My colleague, George Rafe, is there for us to give us an update on what is happening there so far. We expect that at this moment, the Finance Minister will present the budget. We understand that Parliament proceedings have started. George, if you can hear me, any news on when the Finance Minister gets to make his presentation?
Daryl, yes, we are in Parliament right now, and if you have any chance to see proceedings in the main chamber, the deliberations are ongoing right now, but I haven't seen the Finance Minister yet in the chamber. A few minutes when I left the chamber, he is not in the chamber as you speak right now. Even though earlier we're given the 2 p.m. time, it doesn't look like as we speak right now, Daryl. That time we met in terms of the minister coming to the house to do the presentation, but they are doing the normal bill reviews and engagement and debates in Parliament. And again, before I stepped out, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament was the one who was chairing proceedings. I don't know whether the Speaker himself is coming right now. So this is what is happening here as we speak right now. But I've been trying to engage some of the members on the majority side and to see what are the expectations or what have they pick up. I have with me here the Member of Parliament for Ekumfi, Mr. Othini Okweno. Anybody who knows him, somebody who played in the financial sector for quite a long time, the treasury sector and the banking space before he came to Parliament. So, Mr. Othini Okweno, Honorable, what has your leadership been telling you in terms of what Honorable Ato Forson will present to the House in a few minutes from now? Because we know a lot of things are changing There was something that was put out earlier. The ministry is trying to record that as well and all those things. What should we expect from the finance minister when he comes to the House in a few hours or minutes from now?
Thank you very much, and my greetings to all your viewers. I think today's budget reading is my expectation is really about how we are going to sustain the gains we have made. I mean, looking at the background of where we had come from and where we are now, sustaining it is quite critical for us to grow as a country. But by and large, I think that what matters to the Ghanaian is basically our job creation, sustaining the gains to the extent that we can create the enabling environment for business to thrive. And so far, it's worked well. The minister has done quite a yeoman's job. I believe that what is left is for the transmission mechanism of these gains we have made into the lives of Ghanaians. So far, a lot of things have been put in place. If you look at the agricultural sector, the energy sector, the health sector, yes, all these sectors are responding to the gains we have made so far. However, I think some of the things that they are thinking about doing is a matter of time. Let me give you an example. The government is talking about setting up a new gas processing plant with a view of trying to cut down the price of energy. Now, if that happens, we know the effect. Businesses begin to do more, they begin to produce more, manufacturing sector will begin to pick up. And then the whole value chain in the manufacturing side will begin to show face in terms of the lives of Ghanaians. So for me, my expectation on this particular budget is how we are going to look at the transmission effect of all these gains into the lives of Ghanaians, as well as the revenue side of things. How we are going to boost revenue. I know there has been discussions on VAT. Government has done quite a few on the threshold and also reducing the rate itself. Today, interest rates have responded quite well. You have moved from highs of about 35%, you are doing less than 20%. Inflation is doing 5%. The reserves are doing okay. However, the businessman on the street is looking at how these gains that we have made can be translated. Assuming he goes to a bank, is he getting that? Yes, those are the things we are looking at. And also how the social impact of all these benefits are going to get to the Ghanaian.
But Honorable, let's look at, I mean, you've talked about the expectations. What are the briefings that you've gone from your leadership meetings about what the minister is likely to touch on when it comes to the House?
I think by and large, his objective has been on sustaining the gains he has made and translating the gains into creating job opportunities, especially for the youth, and also ensuring that whatever fiscal space he has created will translate into the manufacturing sector, industries, and be able to grow the economy to an extent that we, the Ghanaians, will benefit. By and large, I think that a lot of plans have been put in place. Like I spoke about this gas processing, we are talking about contracting a few loans, definitely like you saw in the past few days. Literally, all directed at creating infrastructure that will garner enough strength for the economy to take off to the point that we cannot benefit. So my expectation still remains that as far as the minister's work, which we've all seen where it's gotten to, we expect a lot more to be said as far as how it's going to translate, and also build industry, manufacturing, road sector. Yes, we have seen a lot of work going in there. However, we are looking at the revenue sources that was going to boost this whole work that he's doing to the extent that the Ghanaian will benefit.
And that was the Member of Parliament for Kumfi again. But again, engaging some members in Parliament and even government itself, and even the Ministry of Finance as well. You get the understanding that the thinking behind the minister when he says that maybe he will not be asking for additional expenditure to spend, because he still believes that if he check on waste in the system, if he reviews some of the numbers, he could still work within the appropriation as well. But those are the things that were picking earlier. It looks like certain things are changing as we speak right now. So let's see what the minister will come up with. But what we also picked up is that don't expect any wild surprises when it comes to the House to do the presentation. In a few minutes from now, or maybe in an hour from now, Darrell, in terms of his presentation to the House on this mid-year budget review to the House and Parliament today?
Thank you, George Effie, for the update. Just in case you're wondering why we haven't started the budget presentation yet. We understand that the majority leader is on the floor while the finance minister is around. Essentially, the speaker wants to be in the chair when the presentation is made. He's also asking for a suspension to wait for the speaker to come. And so it looks like things are going to be delaying for a while. But we know that the finance minister is around. The speaker isn't, and the majority leader is asking for the speaker a suspension so that the speaker can come in and then the finance minister can make his presentation. So while we wait for that, I just want to start with you, Yao Latte, because we haven't heard from you the whole of today. Talk to us about your expectations for the budget presentation this afternoon.
Okay, so thank you very much, and I guess good afternoon to you, our viewers and our listeners. So in terms of expectation, I guess a typical accountant will look at it in 2 or 3 ways. So what's your top line? Your top line is your revenue. We want to increase our revenue without increasing or introducing new taxes. So the taxes that we have, as the Minister of Finance said before, that we have all the taxes, we have all the avenues to raise the money that we need. So we don't need to be introducing new taxes. And so for us, how do we increase the top line or increase our revenue without introducing new taxes? And we take comfort in the fact that it assured us that it's not going to introduce new taxes, and that's good. On the other hand, we're also looking at a situation where over the last few years, in the last 2 years, you've realized there's been a decline in expenditure, or government has controlled expenditure, which is good. But what that means is that some other aspects of the economy also get affected, particularly our capital expenditure. At the beginning or last year, the 2026 budget, there was an ambitious capital expenditure plan. We want to see how government embarks on these programs without necessarily destabilizing other aspects of the economy. Because what happens is that if you overspend, you put yourself in a deficit situation and it destabilizes other aspects of the economy. So now that we have opened the purse, we are going to spend more. We are going to embark on an ambitious capital expenditure program. We should be embarking on capital expenditure programs that are self-financing or that have earmark financing associated with them. So historically, you've seen we've embarked on certain programs and they get stuck. So previous government will have the same situation. The new government comes, nobody continues, and then we just leave them in the bush and we allow them to rot. I don't think that should be the way forward, and it doesn't help us as a country. So that's the investment that we've locked in the bush, whether in the form of schools, hospitals that are not completed. We've locked our investments. So for me, these ambitious capital expenditure programs should be streamlined properly. The government has got, let's say, 2-3 years left. The capital expenditure program should be such that they should be completed within their tenure. They should be self-financing, and they should be investment that has got earmarked funds allocated to them. The third thing is also to look at the impact of external development. If you look at inflation, we ended the year, well, remarkably, and then we started January at about 3.8, dropping to about 3.3, 3.2. As soon as the war started on 28 February, Iran-Israel-US war started 28 February, we saw the impact. So from April, inflation started trending upwards. So as we speak, you see the inflation has risen to about 5.2. So all the way going down to 3.2, now it started trending upwards. So is this trend likely to continue? And if that's the case, what's the strategy to abet that? Because the war has restarted. Or
it probably may get worse, because I was just reading just before we got on the air that crude oil had reached $100 a barrel.
Excellent. Excellent. And the last inflation estimate that was reported, the key drivers are transport, which is a function of the increase in fuel prices and price at the pump. So if oil price in the international market is going up, certainly in a deregulated market as we find ourselves, we see the impact very soon. And what it means that cost of transport will go up and cost of other related activities will go up. And so inflation is likely to go up. So for me, it's not just about not announcing new tax and etc. But we've seen international development which is likely to impact our economy. And so what is government program, what's government policy to avert that? Because we've suffered that when we went through COVID, we suffered that under Russia, Ukraine, and then we can't avoid the Strait of Hormuz development because certainly it's going to affect us. And so what buffers are we picking or building to protect the economy or to protect ourselves against the impact?
Yeah, I just want to let our viewers know that right now we understand the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, is walking into the chamber with the Finance Minister. We'll get you those shots pretty shortly, but it looks like things are going to get underway very soon. The Finance Minister making his way to the chamber with the Speaker of Parliament as we await that presentation. And just in the last few hours, you're also hearing that there are some tax bills that are up for amendment. We are hearing the customs bill, the income tax amendment bill, value-added tax amendment bill, the excise bill. Your thoughts on how things are going to play out?
Yes. So, and I like the development because if you are talking about taxes, there are three main strategies that you get the impact of taxes in an economy. The first one is to enforce existing tax laws or tax policies. That's number one. So what it means is that you have your VAT at 15%. You don't increase the VAT percentage. You don't amend the VAT Act. What you do is you widen the net. You ensure that those who are supposed to comply with the law are complying. So this morning I heard some of the discussion that people are collecting VAT and are not paying to government. So it's government money they are taking and not giving to government. So that's very important. The second one is to amend existing laws to make them reflect the current situation. So you don't necessarily introduce new taxes, but the existing law is amended. And one of the very important development that happened, for instance, is to increase the threshold for people who are supposed to register for VAT, for instance. So increasing from about 250 to about 750. That was very important because the person whose sales revenue about 250,000, the administrative cost of even registering for VAT is just too much for the person. So you are amending the law to reflect current situation. The third is to introduce the new taxes. So I'm expecting the first to happen where existing tax laws are enforced properly, the tax is widened, and more people are brought into the tax to comply with the law. The second is where the amendment is done in a manner that does not create administrative costs for businesses. Because sometimes these amendments are made such that you have to recalibrate your system. And I'm sure...
yeah, because I was going to come to him and ask him...
Mark will mention that properly. As soon as that is done...
Deal for business,
yes,
right?
A lot of business. And so that doesn't help business at all. Yes.
Yeah, as you said, taxes are a big deal. I'm just waiting to hear the details about those proposed amendments. And we are hoping that it won't be something that will... creates problem, another layer of cost for businesses. I have said that much as we are not expecting new one, this will not also increase the rate for existing ones. Because we've had instances like that where they increase the rate. So, in fact, taxes we want to pay, but it should not cripple businesses. So whatever review, what I'm expecting, any review of taxes should be in favor of businesses. It should not rather create another cost, but it should be an opportunity for businesses to expand. That is exactly what we need. It should be in our favor. Yeah. And when that happens, we will give them the applause.
I want Kofi to show us just why taxes are such a big deal right now for businesses and for our economy going forward.
If you look at the entire 2026 fiscal year, we are expecting to get some 224 billion cedis from tax revenue. And we've got data for the first quarter inflows in terms of provisional data. And we are underperforming in terms of what we're expecting from tax revenue. For instance, in the first quarter, the expectation was that we could get some 24.4 billion cedis, as the provisional data is showing somewhere around 24. I mean, it's gone down by some 1.9 billion cedis. So you're expecting some 8 billion cedis. You've now collected 47.9, which means that there's a shortfall of close about 1.9 billion cedis. So that's why it's important, because if you look at the revenue for the year, a significant part is coming from tax revenue. And I want us to go through what we know so far in terms of the fiscal side, right? So this is last year compared to this year in terms of first quarter fiscal performance. And if you see anything in violet, that is 2025, and anything in red is 2026. And you can see in terms of revenue, we are doing better in 2026 than we did in 2025. So that's a plus for the government. And so I'm wondering how, or the nature of the amendment, how they're going to look like, because if you compare last year's revenue in terms of first quarter, we are up by more than 10 billion cedis, right? And that is, for me, is very important. If you look at the expenditure side, 55.5 billion cedis compared to how much we spent at the end of the first quarter of 2026, that's about 62 billion cedis. Although analysis shows that we wanted to spend way above this, but in terms of the releases and the data that we have shows that there's an under expenditure when it comes to expenditure in 2026. Now, let's also look at the first quarter of 2026, just to focus on that, and that will tell you why maybe we might be seeing some of this amendment, because revenue, right? If you look at what we wanted to get programmed was around 60 billion cedis for first quarter of 2026. Now, what we've collected so far, although we understand it's provisional data, but falls short by some 3 billion cedis. Right. That is a whole ministry's budget, right? That's a significant expenditure. On the other hand, has underperformed. We want to spend some 78 billion cedis. Now we're spending 72 billion. If revenue goes down, it explains why expenditure is also down. But in terms of the disaggregated figures, let's look at the tax handles that got some uptake and those that reduced in terms of expectation. Income and property tax, I was mentioning that this was up by some 473 million cedis above what we projected to get in the first quarter of 2026. Domestic VAT up by some 47 million cedis. But in terms of the entire VAT system, it was down. If you add the external side, you'll see that external VAT went down by 842 million. And there are fingers being pointed at the exchange rate situation being one of the reasons why, and the rationalization we did, because it took the effective VAT from 22% essentially to about 20%. NHIL, and if you are concerned about the Mahama Care, this is where it is taking its lifeblood from, the NHIL, in terms of projection, what we wanted to get at the end of the first quarter versus what we actually got, fell by some 697 million cedis. Gets Fund, very important to Free SHS because it's been uncapped, and we now understand that Free SHS is taking its entire budget of more than 3 billion cedis from the Gets Fund basket, and that was down by 697 million. And if you understand the cascading impact of the VAT system, you will not be surprised why all of these taxes are down, because they were taking huge sums from that cascading impact, that 22% VAT that we had. So once you rationalize and you take it out, you should expect some of these things to happen. So it will be very interesting to see the rationalization that the finance minister wants to do in terms of the tax amendment. Import tax down by 1 billion cedis. That is very significant. Right. But on the other side, we all know once the additional levy on the export price of fuel, ESLA is up by 1.4 billion cedis. Company tax for me is very important, up 725 million above what we were projecting to get. So in terms of the fiscal side, this is how the picture is looking at. But there are burdens ahead, which has to do with the debt servicing obligation. The finance minister has already declared that next month we are supposed to pay some 39 or some 10 billion cedis, or close to about $1 billion in terms of debt servicing obligation only to DDEP, right? And the following year, which is 2027, we are on track to pay about 54 billion cedis. About 39 billion will come in February or the first quarter of 2027. So all of those things, although you could see some of these good numbers, but in terms of the fiscal burden ahead, is very huge.
Yeah, and so what sort of amendment would make sense? That's the question on my mind right now. Yeah. You want to take it, Abiel?
For me, it's government also looking at the effects of decisions that we've taken. And I refer that to when government removed some of the tax handles, when the first budget that was introduced. The impact is that you've blocked some revenue lines, and so you have to replace them. And so what's important is you can still achieve your target without necessarily introducing new taxes. And then some of the amendment that they've made, and as he referred to, the decoupling of the VAT system, it took a while, but the bold initiative of undertaking it has helped businesses.
Yeah.
And you can see the impact on the right-hand side, company taxes. A lot of companies were suffering when these taxes were introduced. And so you can see the impact on the right-hand side, where it means that when you stifle businesses, they are not going to employ people, your taxes from employment taxes we call PAYE taxes will go down. Your company or corporate income tax, CIT, will go down. So there's always a counter effect on some of the policies that you introduce. So you are increasing VAT, you are killing business or you are stifling businesses. The effect is that your corporate income tax will go down. Now you are seeing the impact. Although some of the indirect taxes are going down, your get fund levies and others are going down, the impact that your direct taxes, corporate income tax will increase, your PAYE, employment tax.
And they are not just, not to cut you, but the PAYE, as you mentioned, is up by 204 million.
Excellent. Excellent. So it means that companies are able to employ more people. And then you get a benefit. So that's the angle or the discussion that we have with government all the time. That there's no point increasing indirect taxes all the time. Sometimes you allow business to grow, employ more people, you get a benefit on the other side.
Yeah, you're looking to make money while not hurting businesses. And I guess for the businesses, it's also about the operations going forward, right, Mark?
Yeah, of course. I mean, taxes for us is they are cost to us. So anytime you see any tax going up, it means that you are adding additional cost to our cost of production. And also, sometimes the compliance cost alone is also very high. But you see, when we allow businesses to grow and we are taxing them, I think we will get more than when they are young and we are overtaxing them and killing them. That is the experience we have had over the years. Now sometimes you are burdened with so much tax that you don't grow. So we decide to keep your small business and keep a small number of people, at least just to make sure that you are able to break even and sustain your business. So when you allow them, I mean, some tax relief, some other benefits, and they expand, they employ more people. Now, we need to exactly look at what is it that we want as a country.
Right.
Everybody that you meet on the street and you ask, they will tell you, we need jobs. The students are coming out, they need job. Those who are already out, millions of them, they need job. So we need to ask, do you want to impose more taxes on businesses so they will not expand and collapse them, or you give them that leeway to expand and employ more people? For instance, if you want people to industrialize, as we have said, as all of us we want to know, and other policies as we have had, there are a lot of tax relief that in other jurisdictions they are being given to businesses. We can learn from them. Those that have industrialized did not impose unnecessary taxes that we are experiencing. In fact, the VAT rationalization that we are talking about, for 20%, even though we moved down from 21.9 to 20%, we still think that is very high. That if there is any review or any rationalization that they want to do, I think we have to look at it again. And corporate tax, we've seen improvements, but we still complain that the 25% is still high. It's still high. So in all that we are doing, we are looking at finding a balance where government will get revenue and also strengthening the activities of the private sector because they know what contribution they can make to the Ghanaian economy.
All right, we are just getting an indication that the Finance Minister, Kansler Tufosun, has entered the chamber. You can see on your screens there proceedings in the chamber there. I don't know if we can listen up hear what they're talking about right now. Yeah, we'll bring you some audio if we are able to receive it. Isaac, you're going to say something?
Yeah, in fact, we've got some interesting data here in terms of the taxes that we decided to scrap, the expected impact, and then the rationalization of the VAT. So we are looking at what the IMF had to say about this tax, the decision to scrap some of these taxes. So the removal of the COVID-19 levy and folding of the NHIL and guest fund levies into the VAT was expected to cost us some 5.3 billion cedis. So what we did on that side of VAT, the impact on revenue negative is about 5.3 billion cedis. If you look at raising the VAT threshold from 200,000 to about 750,000, the expectation was that this was supposed to cost the tax, the revenue side 219 million cedis. That's also very huge. But this were what we were expecting, that after doing all of these things should bring in extra cash. So one of them is a change of the VAT on real estate from flat rate to the standard rate. Are we doing it right? Because the projection was that we're supposed to add some 242 million cedis to the revenue kitty. And change of VAT, domestic VAT from flat rate to standard rate was also 180 million cedis. But if you look at the VAT numbers, the domestic is looking fine, but the external side was down, and the fingers are being pointed at, the exchange rate situation. Introduction of the modified income tax scheme for small taxpayers that fell below the new VAT threshold, and possibly part of the reason why we're seeing company tax go up. We're expecting to get some 1.2 billion cedis for doing this. Removal of import VAT exemptions for 347, product lines. We're expecting 1.7 billion cedis to the revenue kitty as a result of this, and improvement of VAT compliance. So here we're betting on compliance after reducing the effective VAT rate from 22% to 20%. What was the number? 1.6 billion cedis. So after doing all of this and compliance doesn't increase, remember what you're throwing away and what you're expecting may never come in. An increase of the CIT collection due to removal of the levies was close to about 800 million cedis. So that's what the impact, as assessed by the IMF, Daryl.
All right, we are crossing over to Parliament now to listen in on the proceedings over there. You're watching Joy News. The Finance Minister, in a moment from now, will be presenting the Media Budget Review.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, we're happy the Finance Minister is here. My main concern is that on the government side, I see a lot of empty seats. Mr. Speaker, this tells us how government side takes this budget. Mr. Speaker, all ministers are supposed to be here. Mr. Speaker, I can count the number of cabinet ministers here. Mr. Speaker, cabinet ministers are supposed to be here and listen to the finance minister. But Mr. Speaker, it's okay. We are here to listen to him. If they have decided not to come in their numbers, it's fine. We have picked the signal. But the leader of government business has given an indication. So some of the facts will be contentious. We hope that the finance minister will record and address this house on the matters arising out of the Nkukon Ketenkete, which according to the Greek minister, the beneficiaries are eating the fowl. Like what happened to I confirm, Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter we hope you would address.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, when the Akoko Nketekete project started and they were distributing the day-old chicks, Honorable Afenyomakin failed to take advantage, and so he didn't go for some of the day-old chicks. Others went and took the day-old chicks. Now they have matured, and they are now Akoko Nkasie Kasie. And when they prepare their light soup and take, he's worried and complaining all over the place. Please, the whole object of Akoko and Kitikiti is so that they will mature into big beds, and then they will be sold and they will be utilized for light soup. So if they are being utilized for light soup, now what is your problem? What is your problem? Mr. Speaker, I think on this very light note, I want to urge colleagues, let's allow the process to continue.
Yes, honorable members, on your behalf, I invite the Minister of Finance to make the statement.
Right Honorable Speaker, on behalf of His Excellency the President, President John Dramani Mahama, I have the humble duty to present the Media Fiscal Policy Review of the 2026 Budget and Economic Policy of Government. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed with this Media Fiscal Policy Review, I wish to acknowledge the devastating floods that struck part of our country last month. Right Honorable Speaker, as honorable members will recall, the floods claimed lives, displaced families, destroyed businesses, and caused extensive damage to public infrastructure. Ghana was not alone. Similar floods also affected Nigeria, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Sierra Leone, highlighting the growing flood risk across West African coastline and the effect of climate change. Mr. Speaker, government responded swiftly by visiting the hardest hit communities, releasing funds for emergency relief, and launching a nationwide cleanup exercise. On the direction of His Excellency the President, I am making available additional resources for ongoing dredging and construction of critical drains in the affected areas. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President has directed the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources to develop a comprehensive and permanent solution to flooding in Accra and other flood-prone areas across the country. The necessary funding for the implementation of this permanent solution will be provided in the 2027 budget and the medium term. Mr. Speaker, I stand before this House with a deep sense of pride and confidence, born out of strong performance in the last 1.5 years in the management of the Ghanaian economy. Right Honorable Speaker, this confidence is grounded in sound policy, in evidence, in measurable performance, and in credible data, and most importantly, in the lived experience of Ghanaians who endured a profound economic crisis and are now standing on firmer ground. Mr. Speaker, Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 2921, requires the Minister for Finance to present to Parliament a Media Fiscal Policy Review not later than 31st of July of each year. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm here in fulfillment of this legal and constitutional obligation. Mr. Speaker, today I am not here to seek a supplementary estimate. The 2026 appropriations remains unchanged. Right Honorable Speaker, however, we are undertaking a strategic realignment of expenditures within the existing appropriations. Mr. Speaker, government also affirms the following macroeconomic target for 2026. Overall GDP growth of at least 4.8%. Non-oil real GDP growth of at least 4.9%. Mr. Speaker, NDI inflation of 8% plus or minus 2%. Where Ghana stands today and where Ghana is heading. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully request the full text of this Media Fiscal Policy Review be captured in the Hansard in its entirety, while I present the highlights to this House. Mr. Speaker, before I present the details of our economic performance, we must briefly recall where we came from. I do so because the lessons of economic history must never be forgotten. Mr. Speaker, when this administration took office in January 2025, President Mahama inherited an economy on its knees. Right Honorable Speaker, the economic crisis of 2022 was not merely an accident. It was the consequences of a series of wrong policy choices. Choices about reckless spending, choices about excessive and binge borrowing, choices about lack of accountability and a failure to level with the people of Ghana about the true state of the Ghanaian economy. Mr. Speaker, the consequences of those wrong choices for the Ghanaian people were so severe. The cedi depreciated at levels never seen before, eroding savings, businesses, business capital, and purchasing power of millions of Ghanaians. Inflation exceeded 50%, dramatically increasing the cost of living and placing basic necessities beyond the reach of many people. Real disposable incomes declined sharply. Interest rates surged, making credit expensive for the private sector. Investor confidence collapsed. International reserves fell to extremely low levels. International credit rating agencies downgraded Ghana's sovereign debt to levels never seen in our history. Mr. Speaker, Ghana lost access to the international capital market. The previous government implemented most painful debt restructuring program that imposed crude and painful haircuts on domestic and external bondholders. Financial institutions and individual bondholders also suffered significant losses, with many losing their lifetime of savings. Even pensioners were not spared the burden of crude and painful haircuts under the DDP. The Speaker, and businesses closed or relocated, jobs were lost, and many households that had escaped poverty fell back into hardships. Mr. Speaker, this is an honest account of the economy and the one that His Excellency the President inherited. We recount this event not to dwell on the past, but to remind ourselves of the heavy price of fiscal indiscipline, excessive borrowing, weak accountability, and dishonest economic management. Mr. Speaker, Ghana must never be brought this low again. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. These painful experiences must strengthen our collective resolve to safeguard macroeconomic stability and ensure that such a crisis is never repeated. As a nation, we must internalize the true costs of economic mismanagement and commit ourselves to sound economic stewardship. Some lessons cannot simply be taught, they must be lived. But once learned, they must never be forgotten. Never again, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when this administration assumed office, it moved swiftly and decisively to stabilize the economy and begin the work of national reconstruction. It was immediately clear that the old model of managing the economy had failed, and Ghana did not need incremental adjustment, but it needed structural reforms. We therefore took difficult but necessary decisions, which were neither politically convenient nor painless. These decisions demanded our collective sacrifice, Mr. Speaker, but they were necessary to restore stability and rebuild confidence. Right Honorable Speaker, the progress Ghana is recording today did not happen by chance. Some have suggested that our recent macroeconomic gains are simply the product of good fortune. Others have attributed the recovery solely to the debt restructuring program or the IMF program inherited in 2025. But Mr. Speaker, I firmly disagree. Our recovery is as a result of superior economic management. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, I firmly disagree. Ghana's recovery is as a result of superior economic management. Debt restructuring may create fiscal space, but it does not create fiscal discipline. Right Honorable Speaker, an IMF program may provide a framework, but it cannot substitute for sound policy, disciplined implementation, and political will. Sustainable economic recovery is built on good policy choices, competent economic management, and disciplined execution, and most importantly, courageous leadership. Mr. Speaker, the evidence before us is overwhelming. Ghana's recovery has been driven by a deliberate program of economic reforms implemented since President Mahama assumed office in January 2025. These reforms have strengthened public financial management, restored fiscal credibility, improved revenue mobilization, reduced fiscal risk, and reinforced macroeconomic stability. The results speak for themselves. Every major macroeconomic indicator has improved significantly. These outcomes are not accidental. They are the product of reforms, discipline, and sound economic management. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore important to place on record the reforms that have delivered this turnaround. Mr. Speaker, the recovery of the Ghanaian economy has been anchored on 3 key transformational policy reforms. These key transformational reforms are as follows. The first is fiscal correction. The second is the modernization of Ghana's tax regime. And the third is a complementary fiscal policy for inflation targeting and exchange rate stability. Mr. Speaker, the first key transformational policy reform was fiscal correction. The objective was straightforward. First, to assume control over public finances. Second, is to introduce new expenditure discipline. And third, to place public debt on a sustainable path. We therefore recalibrated Ghana's fiscal framework to ensure greater efficiency, stronger accountability, and fairer burden sharing across government. Right Honorable Speaker, the 2025 budget reset expenditure to 2023 nominal levels, eliminating wasteful spending that had weakened fiscal management over the years. As a result, primary expenditure declined sharply from 18.7% of GDP in 2024 to 13.2% of GDP in 2025. Mr. Speaker, a 5.5% adjustment without hurting economic growth. Most important. Right Honorable Speaker, the primary balance also improved from a deficit of 2.9% of GDP in 2024 to a surplus of 2.5% of GDP in 2025, placing public debt firmly on a downward trajectory. Mr. Speaker, a fiscal adjustment expenditure led by 5.4% of GDP in one calendar year. Mr. Speaker, this sent an unmistakable signal to Ghanaians, investors, and other development partners that fiscal discipline is the new order. Mr. Speaker, government also recalibrated the IMF program, shifting the emphasis from revenue-led to expenditure-led fiscal consolidation to achieve a fairer sharing of the adjustment burden. We amended the Public Financial Management Act to institutionalize a binding fiscal rule requiring a minimum annual primary surplus of 1.5% fiscal consolidation to achieve a fairer sharing of the adjustment burden. We amended the Public Financial Management Act to institutionalize a binding fiscal rule requiring a minimum annual primary surplus of 1.5% of GDP and a debt to GDP ceiling of 45% by 2034. These reforms signaled that fiscal indiscipline would no longer define the Ghanaian state. Mr. Speaker, aside, we established the Value for Money Office to strengthen expenditure efficiency, improve the quality of public expenditure, and ensure that every cedi spent delivers maximum value for the Ghanaian people. We established the Fiscal Council to strengthen fiscal oversight, transparency, and accountability. We undertook a comprehensive audit of government payables to eliminate irregular obligations. We also enforced expenditure control. Government amended the Public Procurement Act to require commitment authorization before procurement. Mr. Speaker, this reform firmly linked procurement to approved budget and restored discipline to public expenditure management across the government. Right Honorable Speaker, for the first time, state-owned enterprises are now bound by the commitment authorization, restraining them from spending beyond their means. Mr. Speaker, over the last 10 years, liabilities of state-owned enterprises have added the equivalent of about 3% of GDP to Ghana's public debt every single year. Mr. Speaker, this occurred because state-owned enterprises failed to honor their contractual obligation, compelling government to assume and settle those liabilities. This contributed to the sharp rise in Ghana's public debt. As a result, Mr. Speaker, The resources that would have financed critical infrastructure were used to pay those SOEs' debt. This is part of the reason why Ghana's debt grew unsustainably without the bridges, roads, or hospitals to show for. Right, Honorable Speaker, what is the point of ensuring that ministries and even Parliament live within their means if state-owned enterprises are permitted to run up liabilities that the taxpayer are ultimately forced to pay? Mr. Speaker, it is therefore important to recognize that Ghana's debt challenge was driven not only by fiscal deficit, but also by the unchecked accumulation of liabilities by state-owned enterprises. This is precisely why the commitment authorization regime would have been meaningless and ultimately ineffective had state-owned enterprises been excluded from its coverage. Right, Honorable Speaker, we also operationalized the sinking fund to strengthen debt management and demonstrate to government that government is committed to meeting future debt obligation. We restored genuine fiscal decentralization by ensuring that at least 80% of the district assembly's common fund is transferred directly to assemblies to support local development. Right, Honorable Speaker, we reduced the number of ministers from 123 at its peak to 60 and reduced the number of ministries from 30 to 23 because, Mr. Speaker, because a leaner government is not merely good politics, but it's also a sound fiscal policy. We curtailed non-essential expenditure, including excessive foreign travel, workshops, conferences, and unnecessary vehicle procurement. We also discontinued low-impact programs like the Ghana Cares of Atampa and the YouStart to redirect scarce resources to national priorities. Mr. Speaker, the second key transformational policy reform was the modernization of Ghana's tax regime. The objective was very clear. First, to restore investor confidence. Second, to revive private enterprises. Third, to provide a relief to households and businesses, and also to increase domestic revenue through better policy, stronger compliance, and more efficient administration, not through higher tax reforms. We therefore abolished a number of nuisance taxes, including the following: e-levy, betting tax, COVID-19 health recovery levy, emission tax, VAT on motor insurance. Mr. Speaker, for the first time since 2015, we undertook comprehensive VAT reforms, removing distortions, improving efficiency, and strengthening compliance. More importantly, the reforms have left businesses with more working capital to invest, expand, and create jobs. We also introduced a sliding scale royalty regime for gold to ensure that Ghanaian people receive a fairer share of the economic returns from their natural resources. Right, Honorable Speaker, beyond tax policy, we introduced major customs reforms supported by artificial intelligence and other digital technologies to strengthen compliance, reduce leakages, and improve revenue mobilization. Since the introduction of the AI-powered customs reforms, monthly customs revenue has increased by approximately 17%, reflecting stronger compliance, more effective enforcement, and significantly reduced leakages. We also amended the misuse of the tax refund account, ensure that resources intended for legitimate tax refund was no longer used as a slush fund. Mr. Speaker, the results have been remarkable. Despite abolishing multiple taxes and introducing no new tax handle, non-oil tax revenue increased by 0.5% of GDP, from 12.6% of GDP in 2024 to 13.1% of GDP in 2025. Mr. Speaker, simply put, government collected more taxes in 2025 even after abolishing the nuisance taxes, including the e-levy. Right, Honorable Speaker, the lesson here is simple. Better policy, stronger compliance, and smarter administration will always deliver more sustainable revenue than higher taxes. Mr. Speaker, the third key transformational policy reform was the introduction of a complementary fiscal policy to support inflation targeting, ensuring exchange rate stability, and building external resilience. Central to this reform was the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board to curb gold smuggling, formalize the gold trade, and ensure that a greater share of Ghana's mineral wealth benefit the Ghanaian people. Through this intervention, Ghana generated an additional $15 billion in foreign exchange inflows from gold, significantly strengthening reserve accumulation and supporting exchange rate stability. This single policy measure improved Ghana's current account balance by 6.4 percentage points from a surplus of 1.9% in 2024 to 8.3% in 2025. Mr. Speaker, this represents a 4 times increment of the current account surplus in just 1 calendar year. Mr. Speaker, this was not simply a gold policy. This was a macroeconomic stabilization policy designed to strengthen the city, build external buffers, and restore confidence in the Ghanaian economy. To reinforce these gains, government developed and is implementing the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy, GANRAP, with the objective of increasing Ghana's international reserve to the equivalent of 15 months of import cover by end of 2028. In a landmark initiative, Mr. Speaker, government has also reached agreement with large-scale mining companies to purchase 30% of their annual gold production for refinery by local refineries, strengthening domestic value addition and supporting reserve accumulation. Government further amended the Bank of Ghana Act to make inflation targeting a shared responsibility between the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana, ensuring stronger coordination between fiscal and monetary authorities. Mr. Speaker, economic reforms must ultimately be judged by their outcomes. I now turn to the evidence of what these key transformational policy reforms have delivered for the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the results of the last 8 months demonstrate that disciplined policies, competent economic management, and consistent implementation delivers tangible results. Real GDP growth grew by 6.0% in 2025, the fastest pace of economic expansion since 2019. Instructively, Mr. Speaker, non-oil GDP grew by 7.6% in 2025, the highest rate in 14 years, demonstrating that Ghana's recovery extends well beyond favorable commodity prices. Mr. Speaker, the momentum has continued into 2026. Real GDP growth reached 6.4% in the first half, exceeding expectations. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in our nation's history, the size of Ghana's economy exceeded $100 billion, firmly establishing Ghana as a major emerging market economy. Ghana's per capita income increased by more than $850 in just 1 year. Mr. Speaker, rising from $2,527 in 2024 to $3,385 at the end of 2025. This is the highest per capita income ever recorded in our country's history. It is therefore not surprising that Ghana is now recognized as the 8th largest economy in Africa. Mr. Speaker, these are not mere statistics. They represent higher incomes, stronger businesses, greater opportunities, and an economy with an enhanced capacity to invest in its people. The labor market is also improving. Unemployment rate declined from 13.7% during the first 3 quarters of 2024 to 12.8% over the same period in 2025. Multidimensional poverty, which measures deprivation across living conditions, education, health, and employment declined from 24.9% in Q3 of 2024 to 21.9% in Q3 of 2025. Mr. Speaker, this simply means that about 950,000 Ghanaians moved out of the multidimensional poverty in just 1 year. Mr. Speaker, behind these statistics are the hundreds of thousands of families who now enjoy better living conditions and greater hope for the future. Right, Honorable Speaker, inflation perhaps tells the clearest story of all. Inflation declined from 23.8% in December 2024 to 5.4% at the end of 2025 and remained low at 5.3% in June 2026. Fiscal performance has also exceeded expectations. The primary balance on commitment basis recorded a surplus of 2.5% of GDP as at the end of 2025. By end of June 2026, we had achieved a primary surplus of 0.9% of GDP on commitment basis. We are firmly on track to achieve our end-year target of 1.5% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, prudent fiscal management has also translated into a rapid decline in Ghana's public debt. The debt to GDP ratio fell from 61.8% of GDP, 61.8% at the end of 2024 to 44.7% at the end of 2025 and reached 45% by end of June 2026. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has therefore already achieved its statutory debt target of 45% of GDP, years ahead of both IMF program timeline and the targeted date established under the Public Financial Management Act. Mr. Speaker, debt service is also consuming a far smaller share of government revenue. Debt service as a share of domestic revenue declined sharply from 55.7% in 2022 to 28.8% in 2025, freeing up billions of cedis for schools, hospitals, roads, and other national priorities. Mr. Speaker, for the first time since April 2014, Ghana's external and overall risk of debt distress has improved from high to moderate. Even more significantly, the joint World Bank IMF debt sustainability analysis has moved Ghana from unsustainable in 2023 to sustainable in 2025, and now for the first time ever to sustainable with room to absorb shocks.
Honorable Minister, please, First Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Minister, you may continue.
Mr. Speaker, interest rates are singing from the same hymn book. The 91-day Treasury bill rate, a benchmark for the cost of short-term borrowing in Ghana, declined from 11% in December 2025 to 5.73% in June 2026, representing a 536 basis point reduction. The 182-day Treasury bill rate also fell from 12.52% to 7.69%, down by 483 basis points. Mr. Speaker, similarly, the 364-day Treasury bill rate declined from 12.94% to 12.82%, a 12 basis point decline. And across the entire yield curve, average decline was 344 basis points. 2 years, 3 years, and 5-year government bonds are now trading within the range of 11% to 12.6%. compared with about 20% a year ago. Right, Honorable Speaker, monetary policy rate has also declined by a cumulative 1,300 basis points from 27% in January 2025 to 14% in July 2026. Mr. Speaker, these are not merely lower interest rates, they are lower borrowing costs for households and businesses, creating room for entrepreneurs to invest, expand, and create jobs. We have also made significant strides on the external front. The current account recorded a surplus of 8.3% of GDP in 2025 and has remained strong through the first half of 2026. The cedi appreciated by 40.7% against the United States dollar in 2025, reversing years of sharp depreciation and restoring confidence in the Ghanaian economy. Mr. Speaker, taken together, these results demonstrate that the 2026 budget is firmly on track. The targets we set at the beginning of the year were not aspirational. They were grounded in sound policy, disciplined implementation, and realistic assumptions. The performance of the economy in the first half of 2026 confirms that we're on course to achieve them. Economic growth is exceeding target. Inflation is below the projected range. Fiscal performance is stronger than programmed, and the debt trajectory is improving faster than expectation. Mr. Speaker, the detailed macroeconomic performance will be presented in subsequent sections in this review. Right, Honorable Speaker, the commitment we made to the people of Ghana are being honored, and the results are evident. I now wish to speak, Mr. Speaker, I now wish to speak directly to every Ghanaian listening to me this afternoon. To the market trader whose purchasing power has improved because inflation has fallen. To the entrepreneur who can now borrow at lower interest rate to expand their businesses. And to the worker whose income now stretches further because the cedi has stabilized. These improvements are not abstract statistics. They are the dividend of sound and competent economic management. We recognize that the sacrifices required to restore the economy were significant and that many households continue to face challenges. But we also know that the foundations of Ghana's economy are now firmly in place. Fiscal discipline has been restored. Macroeconomic stability has returned. Confidence has been rebuilt. And the institutions needed to safeguard these gains have been strengthened. Under the leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, Ghana is not going back. Ghana is moving forward. Mr. Speaker, the government that has delivered these results over the past 18 months has earned the trust to continue implementing the reforms that will secure Ghana's long-term prosperity. Right, Honorable Speaker, next week, the Executive Board of the IMF is expected to approve the final review of Ghana's Extended Credit Facility Program, bringing to a successful conclusion the financial bailout IMF program. The Executive Board is also expected to approve a 36-month policy coordination instrument, a non-financing arrangement designed for countries that no longer have and are not expected to face balance of payment needs. Mr. Speaker, the PCI will anchor our next phase of reforms, strengthening macroeconomic resilience, support broad-based growth, and signal our unwavering commitment to sound and disciplined macroeconomic policy. The PCI will support reforms across 6 priority areas. First is to maintain growth-friendly fiscal consolidation. Second is to preserve debt sustainability. Third is to strengthen fiscal transparency and governance. The fourth is to enhance monetary and exchange rate policy framework. The fifth is to reinforce financial sector stability. And finally, to promote economic diversity and inclusive growth. Mr. Speaker, we believe our strong implementation record, together with the successful execution of the PCI, will strengthen Ghana's path towards investment grade status and enhance our ability to mobilize concessional and development financing for productive public investment. The PCI will include quantitative and 26 reform targets monitored through semi-annual reviews to ensure sustained implementation of reforms that are critical to achieve our ambitious policy objective. Mr. Speaker, the details of the PCI targets are provided in detail in the media fiscal review document before the House. Right, Honorable Speaker, I now turn to macroeconomic performance for the first half of the year. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has not merely met its first half-year target, it has exceeded them. Mr. Speaker, overall GDP growth was 6.4% in the first quarter of 2026, well ahead of the 4.8% full-year target. Non-oil GDP growth was 6.3% in the first quarter of 2026, well ahead of the 4.9% full-year target. Inflation has more than halved, falling from 13.7% in June 2025 to 5.3% by end of June 2026, against a target of 8 plus or minus 1% at the end of the year. The primary balance recorded a surplus of 0.9% of GDP on commitment basis, firmly on track to achieve our end-year target of 1.5% of GDP. Gross international reserves was 5 months of import cover as at end of June 2026, exceeding the target of at least 3 months of import cover. Mr. Speaker, January to June 2026, fiscal performance. Mr. Speaker, the provisional fiscal performance for the first half of 2026 is presented against the following approved 2026 fiscal target. Overall deficit target on commitment basis of 2.2% of GDP, primary surplus of 1.5% of the GDP, overall deficit on cash basis of 4% of GDP, and primary surplus on a cash basis of 0.4% of GDP. But Mr. Speaker, provisional fiscal outturn for the first half of 2026 was stronger than anticipated, indicating continued prudence in fiscal management and enhancing the government fiscal consolidation agenda. Non-oil tax revenue as at end of June 2026 was 6.4% of GDP compared to a target of 6.5% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, domestic revenue reached 7.7% of GDP by June 2026 compared to the target of 7.8% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, total revenue and grant reached 7.8% of GDP by June 2026 compared to a target of 7.9% of GDP. Total expenditure on commitment basis at the end of June 2026 was 8.0% of GDP against the half-year target of 9.9% of GDP. Primary expenditure, which excludes interest payment, was 6.6% of GDP by June 2026 compared to half-year target of 8.1% of GDP. Interest costs at 1.3% of GDP as at the end of June 2026 against the half-year target of 1.8% of GDP, indicating that we have saved on interest about 0.5% of GDP, reflecting lower interest rates and improved debt management. Mr. Speaker, this performance reflects the resolve of this administration to make difficult decisions, implement them consistently, and maintain unwavering fiscal discipline. Mr. Speaker, I now move to public debt. At the end of June 2026, domestic debt accounted for 54.4% of Ghana's total public debt portfolio, while external debt accounted for 45.6%. On the 17th of February 2026, government honored the 6th domestic debt exchange program coupon payment of 10.1 billion on time and in full. Mr. Mr. Speaker, the 7th DDEP coupon payment of 10.8 billion cedis falls due on the 18th of August 2026. Let me use this opportunity to assure this House that it will be paid on time and in full. Mr. Speaker, since January 2025, government has paid a total of $2.1 billion in principal and interest to Eurobond holders without placing undue pressure on Ghana's foreign exchange reserves. Right, Honorable Speaker, there was a time when the world doubted us. Today, every payment made on time answers that doubt, assuring bondholders in London, pension funds in New York, and investors at home that our word is our bond. Payment after payment, coupon after coupon, Ghana is proving one thing beyond dispute. We now keep our word. We now keep our word. That is how market confidence is rebuilt, not through speeches, but through repayment. Mr. Speaker, financial markets have delivered their verdict on Ghana's disciplined fiscal policies and prudent debt management. Right, Honorable Speaker, borrowing costs are down by half. In other words, government is borrowing less. That alone has saved us, this country, 4.2 billion cedis in just 6 months. Mr. Speaker, as Treasury bill rates decline, lending rates across the banking sector are also falling, making it cheaper for households, entrepreneurs, and businesses to borrow, invest, and expand, and at the same time, create jobs. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's Eurobond yields have fallen by about 300 basis points since the beginning of the year. This is not just a number. It is the market vote of confidence in our economy and our reforms. 3 years ago, Mr. Speaker, Ghana could not borrow on the international capital market at any price. Today, the market is inviting us back, but we are not in hurry. We are not in hurry. Right, Honorable Speaker, 3 years ago, Ghana could not borrow on the international capital market at any price. Today, the market is inviting us back, but I want to assure you, we are not in hurry. 3 years ago, unsustainable debt defined our crisis. Today, our debt to GDP ratio has fallen to 45% and still declining, ahead of every target. Mr. Speaker, the work is not finished, and the PFM debt rule requires continuous vigilance. But the direction is right, the momentum is real, and the foundation is solid. Solid. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's external debt restructuring, initiated after the sovereign debt default of 2022, is now at its final stage. In just 3.5 years, Ghana has moved from default to credibility, from debt distress to debt sustainability, from market exclusion to a renewed investor confidence. This is an achievement every Ghanaian can be proud of. Mr. Speaker, following the 2022 public debt default, government could not borrow long-term in cedis and relied heavily and solely on treasury bills to finance the budget. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has now overcome what the economists describe as the original sin, which is the inability of a country to borrow over the long term in its own currency. Mr. Speaker, 3 years restriction on new cedi bond issuance introduced as a result of the debt default caused this original sin. Mr. Speaker, in April 2026, Ghana successfully raised $2.7 billion through its first 7-year cedi-denominated bond since the 2022 debt default. This marks an important step in rebuilding the domestic bond market and restoring long-term financing in our own currency. This further demonstrates that Ghana has regained the ability to mobilize long-term financing in its own currency for development. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm proud to announce that Ghana has now overcome the original sin. Mr. Speaker, we have overcome the original sin. Whilst I now take you to the sinking fund. While Ghana's debt restructuring is nearing completion, prudent debt management requires us to look beyond today to tomorrow's obligation. Mr. Speaker, in 2027, DDEP bonds that will fall due is 58 billion Ghana cedis. Another 53 billion Ghana cedis will fall due in 2028. In 2 years alone, Ghana has to repay 111 billion cedis. 111. Mr. Speaker, this is the true Agenda 111. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is the true Agenda 111 Ghana must deal with. Why? Because the DDEP was not designed to solve Ghana's problems. Mr. Speaker, let me take this again. This is the true Agenda 111 Ghana must deal with. Why? Why? Because the domestic debt exchange program was not designed to solve Ghana's debt problems. It was designed to postpone it deliberately, knowingly, and cynically, unfortunately. Mr. Speaker, its architect mortgaged tomorrow to survive today. Mr. Speaker, they had a duty to fix the roof. Instead, they moved the leak to another room and declared the house repaired. Right, Honorable Speaker, meeting obligations of this magnitude requires advanced planning, not last-minute scrambling. This is precisely why this government has strengthened the sinking fund to set aside money to repay future debt obligations that we inherited. Right, Honorable Speaker, under the 2026-2029 medium-term debt management strategy, we pledge that 7% of non-oil tax revenue, together with proceeds from domestic bond issuance, will go into the sinking fund as a war chest for the 2027 and 2028 maturities. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to report that today I can report to this House that as at 22nd of July, yesterday, the war chest holds 15.6 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, we are on course to accumulate 30 billion cedis in the sinking fund by the end of the year 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, for your information, this will be enough to repay the 30 billion domestic debt exchange program debt that will fall due in February 2027. Mr. Speaker, brick by brick, city by city, we are building the wall that will meet the wave so that when 2027 and 2028 comes, Ghana will not scramble. Ghana will simply pay back this debt. This is the signal the sinking fund sent to investors, credit rating agencies, and the people of Ghana, making it clear that this government plans ahead, honors its commitment, and manages the public finances better. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the financial sector. Government acted decisively in July 2025 to restore confidence and stability in Ghana's banking sector by fully recapitalizing the National Investment Bank, the Agricultural Development Bank, and the Consolidated Bank. Mr. Speaker, last week, the Ghana Amalgamated Trust, GATT, completed the full recapitalization of UMB Bank. In addition, government facilitated the full capitalization of the Prudential Bank. through a private sector-led approach. Right, Honorable Speaker, UMB and Prudential Bank today stands fully capitalized and prime for business. So, Speaker, we want to use this opportunity to encourage individuals, businesses, and institutions to take advantage of the revitalized UMB and Prudential Bank and bank with them. So, Speaker, Mr. Speaker, yes. The 2023 Domestic Debt Exchange Program had a significant adverse impact on the Bank of Ghana's balance sheet, substantially weakening its capital and resulting in a negative net equity position. To restore the bank's financial strength, the government and the Bank of Ghana signed a memorandum of understanding on 6 January 2025 to recapitalize the bank over time. Consistent with the commitment in the MOU, and as a result of this government resolve to restore the bank's financial position, government issued a recapitalization bond to the Bank of Ghana of $5.5 billion as cedis to the Bank of Ghana in March 2026 to strengthen the bank's equity base. So, Speaker, going forward, the government of Ghana will make annual provision to capitalize the Bank of Ghana until the bank's equity is fully restored, in accordance with the Bank of Ghana Amendment Act 2025, Act 1158. Mr. Speaker, whilst government is helping to restore the Bank of Ghana's capital, the bank itself will undertake a comprehensive operational efficiency review to reduce costs, strengthen financial management, and rebuild its long-term financial sustainability. Mr. Speaker, to implement the Ghana Accelerated Reserve Accumulation Policy, government has significantly reduced the cost of the program from an average of 14.5% of gold purchase to 5%. Mr. Speaker, government is bearing the cost of the program and has accommodated 5 billion cedis in the 2026 budget within the same appropriations. Mr. Speaker, this investment is building an economic war chest to strengthen Ghana's international reserves, protect the cedi, reinforce economic stability, improve investor confidence, and shield the economy from international shocks. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to update of the implementation of the fiscal policies that this House approved for us. Right, Honorable Speaker, 6 months ago, this House approved an ambitious program of fiscal reforms. Today, I'm pleased to report that implementation is well underway. Key milestones have been achieved, and the reforms are already delivering measurable results. On the revenue side, government is targeting an increase in non-oil tax revenue from 13.1% of GDP in 2025 to 14.1% of GDP in 2026, 1% increase, through improved compliance, broader tax basis, and enhanced revenue administration, and not through higher taxes. So, Speaker, we will achieve it. On the expenditure side, government remains firmly committed to keeping spending within approved limits while improving its efficiency and effectiveness. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the individual tax reforms. Mr. Speaker, this government introduced the most ambitious reforms to Ghana's VAT system in over a decade to eliminate long-standing distortions, improve efficiency, and support business growth. We abolished COVID-19 health recovery levy. We decoupled Get Fund levy and the National Health Insurance levy from the VAT base, making both eligible for input tax deduction. We reduced the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%. We abolished VAT on recognizance and prospecting for minerals. We raised VAT registration threshold from 200,000 to 750,000, relieving thousands of micro and small businesses of the obligation to register for and charge VAT. And we extended the zero rating of locally manufactured Teslas to 2028. Right, Honorable Speaker, these reforms have simplified VAT systems, removed distortions, lowered the tax burden, and strengthened the foundation for improved compliance. So, Speaker, reforming the tax law was only the first step. Government is now leveraging technology to transform revenue administration and improve compliance. The cross-border technology solution for collecting VAT from non-resident platforms was successfully piloted in April 2026. The pilot confirmed that the system is functional, stable, secure, and compliant with regulatory requirements. Government is now moving decisively to secure the necessary regulatory approval for its nationwide rollout. Upon full deployment, Mr. Speaker, the system is projected to generate about 2.3 billion Ghana cedis in its first full year of operation, with revenue expected to grow by about 20% annually. Mr. Speaker, this is sustainable revenue without increasing tax rates. It simply ensures that cross-border digital platforms earning income from Ghanaian customers pay their fair share of taxes. Mr. Speaker, government is also rolling out fiscal electronic devices to strengthen VAT compliance and improve the monitoring of taxable transactions. The pilot phase is at an advanced stage. To encourage participation and improve compliance, government will also introduce the VAT reward scheme, under which customers who obtain valid VAT invoice will qualify for periodic reward. This will actively involve every Ghanaian in protecting the nation's tax base. Mr. Speaker, this is how a tax culture is built, not through fear, but through participation, transparency, and reward. Right, Honorable Speaker, the concept of fiscal electronic device was first proposed by the previous NDC administration in 2026. But, Mr. Speaker, the previous NPP administration deserves commendation for enacting the necessary enabling legislation. So, Speaker, the taxation, the use of fiscal electronic device Act 2018, Act 999, laying an important legal foundation for this reform. Mr. Speaker, 8 years on, this government is taking the decisive step of implementing the reforms. You did it. You implemented. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, the enabling legislation, the taxation, the use of fiscal electronic device, Act 2018, Act 966 was introduced in 2018 by the previous NPP administration. Mr. Speaker, I just want to use this opportunity to commend them. 8 years on, this government is taking the decisive step of implementing the reform. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, the chairman and the ranking members of the Finance and the Budget Committee of Parliament have been invited to provide strategic oversight for the implementation of this important national reform. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Ghana currently loses an estimated 60% of its potential VAT revenue through non-compliance and systemic inefficiencies. This is unacceptable. Losing 60% of the VAT that you are supposed to collect to develop your country. Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable. It cannot continue, and under this government, this will not continue. I call on Parliament to support government to crack down on businesses and individuals who collect VAT from taxpayers and keep it instead of remitting it to the state. Mr. Speaker, fiscal electronic devices will help improve VAT collection, reduce revenue leakages, and ensure that businesses account properly for VAT they collect. Mr. Speaker, government has completed a comprehensive review of the Customs Act and the Excise Act. The bills are being laid before this House as part of the Media Fiscal Policy Review. I respectfully urge honorable members to give Customs and Excise Bill the expeditious consideration it deserves, so that these important reforms can be implemented without delay. Right Honorable Speaker, trade facilitation must never become a vehicle for tax evasion. Yet, Mr. Speaker, between 2020 and 2025, while 63% of taxable income entered directly into home consumption, the remaining 37% passed through customs suspense framework, including warehousing, transit, temporary admission, and free zones. These procedures exist to facilitate legitimate trade. However, Mr. Speaker, they have increasingly been exploited to evade duties and divert goods into domestic market without paying a single tax in return. Mr. Speaker, the cost extends far beyond lost revenue. Honest Ghanaian businesses and manufacturers are being forced to compete with imported goods that entered the domestic market through tax evasion. Mr. Speaker, this is not fair competition. It is an unfair burden on every law-abiding Ghanaian businesses. It must end. I must end now. Mr. Speaker, the Customs Bill before this House introduced bold reforms to close these loopholes and restore the integrity of Ghana's customs administration. To curb the abuse of warehousing, Mr. Speaker, government will introduce statutory maximum warehousing period as follows. Perishable goods, 3 months. General goods, 6 months. Raw materials, 12 months. Re-warehousing, Mr. Speaker, will be restricted to a maximum of 6 months, ending the practice of rolling warehousing. In addition, every bonded warehouse will be required to operate electronic inventory system linked to customs to enable real-time monitoring and audit control. Mr. Speaker, these are not merely administrative adjustments. They are structural reforms designed to accelerate revenue collection, reduce port congestion, improve compliance, and provide greater certainty for legitimate businesses. Government is also introducing the first port duty rule. Under this reform, Mr. Speaker, duties and taxes on goods declared for transit will become due at the first port of entry, removing one of the biggest avenues for false declaration and revenue leakages. Mr. Speaker, this simply means, Mr. Speaker, if you are to bring in something and you are to inform the customs official that the goods is destined to say Burkina Faso customs will be at the Tema port to collect their taxes before you move. This will end the practice of Aponchi break. Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, appropriate customs to customs arrangement with destination countries will ensure that legitimate transit trade continues seamlessly whilst protecting Ghana's revenue. Right Honorable Speaker, Free Zones regime was established to promote export-led industrialization, not to serve as a duty-free trading and storage hub. Unfortunately, over the time, that objective has been undermined by abuse of the regime and weak controls over the use of raw materials. Ghana's free zones will once again serve their original purpose, build domestic industry, expand export, and create quality jobs for Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, government will also strengthen import declaration and valuation by mandating the use of appropriate tax identification number for all importers. Mr. Speaker, downstream petroleum operations have for too long operated with fragmented controls and weak integration into customs systems. Mr. Speaker, bunkering and ship stores regime have consequently become vulnerable to diversion, under declaration and smuggling. This economy can no longer afford these leakages. Mr. Speaker, Government will therefore enforce the statutory requirement for bank guarantee on the lifting of refined petroleum products and require product movement to be undertaken by only through approved pipelines and electronically tracked distribution system. Mr. Speaker, government will also remove the tax exemption on bunkering services in line with international practice to curb smuggling, strengthen compliance, and protect much-needed revenue. Right, Honorable Speaker, I now take you to excise duties. The evidence for reform is equally compelling in the area of excise duties. Analysis of wine and spirit imported between 2023 and 2025 shows a taxable revenue of over 5 billion Ghana cedis. However, about 78%, worth 4 billion Ghana cedis, entered customs procedures such as warehousing and transit. In other words, almost 4 out of every 5 cedis of the potential excise tax based on wine and spirit escaped the tax net. Mr. Speaker, only 1 cedi out of every 5 cedi was subjected to excise duty. That is neither efficient nor sustainable, and this must change. The excise duty bill before this House introduced a comprehensive package of reforms to close these leakages. So, Speaker, we will crack down this leakage. Right, Honorable Speaker, specifically, government will introduce a hybrid excise system combining value-based and quantity-based taxation for wines and spirit to eliminate persistent undervaluation and misclassification and ensure a minimum level of tax is paid regardless of the declared value. So, Speaker, we will review the existing sliding scale excise rates for beer and stout product to better align them with government revenue objectives while preserving the incentive for local production. Right, Honorable Speaker, strengthening compliance through mandatory electronic registration of stockists, a nationwide track and trace system, penalties of up to 3 times the excise duty for tampering, and enforcing the law on requiring bank guarantees and abolishing, Mr. Speaker, the payment of 20% excise duty on locally manufactured fruit juice. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 20% excise duty on locally manufactured fruit juices introduced in 2023. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is to support agro-processing and job creation. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the Publican AI trade solution. Technology is already transforming customs administration. The Publican AI trade solution was fully deployed in March 2026, and the results has been remarkable. Mr. Speaker, between the pilot phase, January and February, and the full rollout phase, March to 17 July 2026, the Publican AI trade solution increased assessed customs collection by over $300 million, representing 17.5% uplift over the values originally declared by importers. Mr. Speaker, Publican increased the aggregate declared costs, insurance and freight value of imports by approximately 6.3%, but increased the assessed collection by 17.5%. Since deployment, Mr. Speaker, the system has analyzed approximately 366,000 import declarations, nearly 1 in every 4, representing 24%, triggered more than 1 valuation risk indicator, requiring further review by customs officials. Before the deployment of the Publican AI, many of these declarations would have been cleared without scrutiny, leading to substantially revenue losses. Mr. Speaker, the positive impact on customs revenue collection has been massive. Mr. Speaker, in March 2026 alone, Publican increased the assessed collection by 73.44 million United States dollars, representing an uplift of 25.7%. Mr. Speaker, this was followed by additional assessed collection of 51.63 million in April 2026. 72.5 million in May and 55.82 million in June, and 35.17 million for the first 17 days of July. Mr. Speaker, the impact is also reflecting in monthly customs revenue, which has increased from an average of approximately 4 billion Ghana cedis in 2025 to between 5.3 billion Ghana cedis and 5.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2026. So, Speaker, let me take this again. In 2024, an average monthly customs collection was 4 billion Ghana cedis. Today, the average monthly customs collection has moved to 5.3 billion cedis to 5.5 billion Ghana cedis. Despite the significant appreciation of the cedi and no major increase in volumes. Mr. Speaker, I have included some of the cases identified by the publican system in the media review document. Mr. Speaker, it is mind-blowing. Right, Honorable Speaker, in each instance, the declared value was only a fraction of the value assessed by the AI publican system. Mr. Speaker, I now give you update on expenditure measures. Mr. Speaker, government is proposing further reforms to the public procurement, Mr. Speaker, in 3 different areas. First, the first reform is shortening procurement lead times. Mr. Speaker, the second reform is to limit the use of single source procurement. And the third is to tighten restricted tendering. Right, Honorable Speaker, government will shorten procurement timelines. The lead time for national competitive tendering for goods will be reduced from 23 weeks to 8 weeks. Mr. Speaker, international competitive tendering for works will be reduced from 27 weeks to 14 weeks. Mr. Speaker, competitive tendering must remain the norm. Restricted tendering and single source procurement must be the exception. Government will therefore tighten the rules governing these exceptional procurement methods, strengthening oversight and improve accountability to ensure greater transparency and better value for money. Single source procurement will be permitted only in genuine exceptional circumstances, such as emergencies, national security, or where only one supplier is capable of delivering the required goods, works, and services. Right, Honorable Speaker, urgency arising from poor planning will no longer be treated as an emergency. Government will also strengthen accountability by introducing sanctions for approvals granted in breach of the Public Procurement Act. Mr. Speaker, these reforms will speed up project delivery, strengthen competition, improve value for money, and reduce opportunities for procurement abuses. Right, Honorable Speaker, I now take you to flood response and mitigation measures. Mr. Speaker, following the widespread flooding that affected Greater Accra and other parts of the country in June 2026, government sought parliamentary approval to draw 350 million from the contingency fund to finance emergency response intervention. On the 30th of June 2026, the Finance Committee of Parliament, acting under Article 1771 of the Constitution, approved the request. However, Mr. Speaker, government was unable to access the funds because the contingency fund was subject to a garnishee order issued by the Accra High Court. Mr. Speaker, given the urgency of protecting lives, providing humanitarian relief to affected communities, and restoring critical infrastructure, government reallocated 350 million from the contingency vote under the control of the Minister of Finance in the 2026 budget to the Disaster Management Committee under the Ministry of Interior to finance the emergency responses. Mr. Speaker, to strengthen flood mitigation efforts across the country, government also reallocated 226 million within the budget of the Ministry of Works and Housing and Water Resources to implement additional flood control and mitigation measures. Mr. Speaker, government is committed to improving urban mobility and providing safe, reliable, and affordable public transport for Ghanaians. To this end, Government is reallocating 400 million Ghana cedis for the acquisition of high occupancy buses to strengthen the fleet of state-owned transport companies, including Metro Mass Transit and the State Transport Company. Mr. Speaker, this intervention will expand public transport capacity, particularly along high-demand urban and intercity routes, reducing long passenger queues during peak hours, and provide commuters with more reliable and efficient alternative to private vehicles. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to the update on key policy initiatives that this House approved. Right, Honorable Speaker, I now report on the implementation on some of the government key policy initiatives during the first half of 2026. First, Mr. Speaker, Ghana's crude oil production declined sharply from 71.4 billion barrels in 2019 to about 36 million barrels in 2025. To reverse this decline, government has introduced investor-friendly reforms that have already secured more than $3.5 billion in new investment commitment from the Jubilee and OCTP partners. Right, Honorable Speaker, these reforms are already delivering results. Oil production has exceeded expectation this year, with Jubilee increasing from a projected 68,000 barrels to about 95,000 barrels per day. Mr. Speaker, Power Sankofa is now producing about 28,000 barrels per day. Mr. Speaker, gas production has also increased from 245 million to about 282 million standard cubic feet per day. And Mr. Speaker, a new agreement with the OCTP partners will increase gas production further to 350 million standard cubic feet per day. Government is also updating the laws governing the upstream petroleum sector to make Ghana more attractive for investment, with a proposed amendment to be submitted to this Parliament before the year end. Right, Honorable Speaker, government remains firmly committed to its gas to power strategy, which is replacing expensive light crude oil with cleaner and cheaper natural gas. This transition is expected to reduce electricity generation costs by at least 75%. I am pleased to report that by the end of June 2026, government has increased gas supply for power generation by an additional 35 million standard cubic feet per day, bringing total supply to about 490 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. The increase comprises 10 million standard cubic feet per day from the OCTP partners led by ANI and 25 million standard cubic feet per day from the NGAS. Mr. Speaker, this strategic shift is already delivering significant savings. By replacing light crude oil with natural gas, government saved about 3 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $268.8 million in fuel costs during the first half of 2026. Mr. Speaker, government in partnership with the private sector, is developing 100 million standard cubic feet per day modular gas processing facility. Land acquisition has been completed, while the environmental assessment, engineering design, financial due diligence, and project structuring are underway. Mr. Speaker, this will be submitted to Parliament for consideration. Financial close is expected by end of 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, the project is expected to create nearly 1,000 jobs and generate about $2 billion in benefit to the state over the next 5 years through fuel savings, foreign exchange savings, taxes, levies, and dividend. Mr. Speaker, I now report on our 1,200 megawatt state-owned power plant. Right, Honorable Speaker, government is also developing a 1,200 megawatt state-owned combined cycle gas-fired power plant at Kafudidi Abrobano in the Commander Edna Eguafo Ebrim municipality. Mr. Speaker, feasibility studies have confirmed the project viability with environmental engineering and permitting processes progressing steadily. The first 600 megawatt phase is expected to be commissioned in 2028. Right, Honorable Speaker, to reduce costs, government secured the gas turbines directly from GE Vernova, achieving savings of between 35 and 45% compared with third-party procurement. Right, Honorable Speaker, the project will lower electricity generation costs, help reduce electricity tariff by 10 to 20%, and create more than 2,000 direct and indirect jobs during the first phase. So, Speaker, I now take you to the big push. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. Government Big Push Infrastructure Program is driving the largest coordinated investment in strategic transport infrastructure in recent years, with projects underway in all 16 regions of the country. Mr. Speaker, work has commenced on 87 projects, comprising 74 trunk roads and bridges, 10 urban roads and 3 feeder roads. Mr. Speaker, by end of June 2026, 13 projects had reached at least 50% completion, including 6 projects that had exceeded 75%, while a further 15 projects had progressed beyond 25% completion. Significant progress has been made on key corridors, including the Kaswa-Winneba, Takrade Aguna Junction, Ofanko in Sawom, Tepagoso, Adentan Dodowa, Tema Aflao, Penny Aflao, Wenchi Sola Atimpoku Ho Aflao, Tumu Han Laura, Tumu Navrongo, and Winneba Cape Coast Takrade roads. Right, Honorable Speaker. The construction of the Swami Interchange Phase 2, the Sunyani, Tamale, and Kumasi Outer Ring Road are progressing. Mr. Speaker, feeder road projects in the Eastern Volta region are also improving access to farming communities and market access. During the second half of the year, government will fast-track project nearing completion. Mr. Speaker, improve contractor performance and remove bottlenecks to ensure they are completed on time. Right, Honorable Speaker, I take you to the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. Mr. Speaker, the Accra-Kumasi Expressway remains the flagship under the Big Push program. It involves the construction of 176-kilometer, 6-lane bi-directional expressway linking Ghana's 2 largest commercial cities. When completed, Mr. Speaker, the expressway will reduce travel time between Accra and Kumasi to about 2 hours, improve road safety, ease congestion, lower transport costs, and feature modern interchanges, bridges, intelligent transport system, electronic tolling, emergency response facilities, and rest spots. Mr. Speaker, government has made substantial progress in the project preparation. As of 22nd July 2026, yesterday, the Ghana Armed Forces have cleared 122 kilometers, representing about 70% of the 120-meter wide right-of-way in just 12 weeks. Mr. Speaker, the entire corridor is expected to be cleared by the first week of September 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, compensation assessment, environmental studies, engineering design, feasibility works are progressing simultaneously. The feasibility study and detailed engineering design are expected to be completed by end of August 2026, next month. Mr. Speaker, with procurement for the main construction contract to commence in September 2026. Mr. Speaker, as of 2nd of July 2026, $1.7 billion United States dollars have been deposited into a dedicated Accra-Kumasi Expressway account at the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, as at yesterday, 22nd of July 2026, the government of Ghana has deposited $1.7 billion United States dollars into an account, a dedicated account at the Bank of Ghana solely for this project. The funds have been ring-fenced and will be used only after the main construction contract is awarded. I can share it. Mr. Speaker, government is therefore confident that all the requirements for this transformational project, including the resources, the money, will be in place when His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama cut the sword for the construction of the project to begin. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to Achia Mamfuom and also Achia Mamfuom Bridge. Right Honorable Speaker, for centuries, the people of Afram Plains have relied on ferries to cross the Afram River. While these ferries have served the area for many years, frequent delays and seasonal disruptions have impeded easy access and movement of people, goods, and the provision of essential services. The Adosu Achia Mamfuom Bridge, a 3.6-kilometer permanent bridge, will be the longest in Ghana and will replace the ferries, providing a safe, reliable, and all-weather crossing. As part of Ghana's big push infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, it will connect the Kwewu-Afram Plains to the national road network and unlock the significant potential of one of Ghana's most important food baskets. The bridge will make it easier for farmers to transport maize, cassava, yam, rice, and other produce to market, reducing travel time. It will also improve access to healthcare, education, and other essential services, while creating jobs, attracting investment, and supporting food security. Expected to be completed by end of 2028, the Adosu Achia Mamfuom Bridge is a gateway to opportunities, bringing communities closer to markets, services, and better future. The Speaker, the Dambai Bridge. Works is also progressing on the Dambai Bridge, a critical project that will provide a permanent crossing between Dambai and Dodi Kope and strengthen transport along the Eastern Corridor. The Speaker, the project comprises 1.49-kilometer bridge and approximately 6.8 kilometer of approach roads. The Speaker, at the end of June 2026, fiscal progress had reached 6%, slightly ahead of schedule, with foundation work and construction of the temporary bridge already underway. Right Honorable Speaker, I now take you to the 1,000-kilometer agriculture enclave road, of which Parliament approved 2 days ago. Mr. Speaker, government has begun the implementation of the agriculture enclave road program. Government is investing $528 million United States dollars, equivalent in cedis, to rehabilitate 1,050 kilometers of feeder roads across 4 major agriculture producing corridors. Mr. Speaker, upon completion, the project is expected to rehabilitate 1,050 kilometers of feeder roads, ensure 100% of rehabilitated roads are maintained under performance-based contract, expand the National Road Asset Management Database to achieve 100% coverage, create approximately 25,000 direct and indirect jobs, including at least 7,500 jobs for women, and reduce travel time by over 40% on paved roads and 30% on unpaved roads. Mr. Speaker, the first phase will involve the rehabilitation of 1,050 kilometers of feeder roads to be undertaken across 4 agriculture clusters covering 13 regions of the country. Right Honorable Speaker, Cluster 1 will cover 300 kilometers of roads in Upper West, Northern Region, and Savannah regions, and that will be 300 kilometers. Clusters 2, Mr. Speaker, will rehabilitate 300 kilometers of roads in the Oti, Volta, and the eastern regions. Mr. Speaker, Cluster 3 will also rehabilitate 250 kilometers of roads in Ashanti, Bono East, and eastern region. And finally, Mr. Speaker, Cluster 4 will cover 200 kilometers of roads in Western North, Western, Central, and Ahafo region. Mr. Speaker, these investments will improve connectivity between farms and markets, reduce post-harvest losses, lower transport costs, and support agricultural transformation in some of Ghana's most productive farming areas. Mr. Speaker, I take you to the oil palm. Right Honorable Speaker, government remains committed to transforming Ghana's oil palm industry into a major driver of industrialization, export growth, import substitution, and rural employment. A key pillar of the integrated oil palm development policy is the establishment of a sustainability compliant oil palm land banks to de-risk private sector investment and accelerate the development of large-scale plantation integrated with smallholder and outgrower schemes. So, Speaker, implementation of this initiative is progressing steadily. The Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, working in collaboration with the private sector and other relevant institutions, have reviewed over 270,000 hectares of land in the Western region. Right Honorable Speaker, drone survey have been completed on over 117,000 hectares, whilst 46,000 hectares have been selected for detailed land use change analysis. To date, assessment has been completed on 16,000 hectares, of which approximately 10,780 hectares have been identified as suitable for sustainable oil palm development. Right Honorable Speaker, these areas are now undergoing the required environmental, social, and sustainable assessment, including high conservation value, high carbon stock, and free, prior, and informed consent (FPIC) processes in line with the international standard. Mr. Speaker, similar mapping, land documentation activities have commenced in the Central region, with preparatory work underway in Eastern and Volta region. Based on the current assessment, Mr. Speaker, the Western region alone is expected to provide approximately 30,000 hectares of land for the first phase of the development. Mr. Speaker, as work expands nationwide, the land bank has the potential to exceed 100,000 hectares across Ghana's oil palm growing belt. Mr. Speaker, this initiative will unlock significant private sector investment, create over 250 direct and indirect jobs across the value chain, and strengthen smallholder participation, increase domestic crude oil palm production, reduce import dependency, and position Ghana as a leading hub for oil palm processing and exports. Mr. Speaker, government will continue to work with stakeholders to ensure that this program is implemented responsibly, sustainably, and in a manner that delivers lasting benefit to our communities and the national economy. Now listen, Mr. Speaker, government is also finalizing the $500 million United States dollars integrated oil palm development financing agreement with the World Bank for on-lending to the private sector for the development of large-scale commercial oil palm plantation. We expect to conclude and present it to this House by the end of this year. Right, Honorable Speaker, we expect to bring it for approval by the end of this year. Right, Honorable Speaker, as part of Government Feed Ghana program, we have commenced the establishment of the 50 farmer service centers across the country to improve farmers' access to mechanization and extension services. To support this initiative, government has deposited 551 million Ghana cedis into an escrow account at the Bank of Ghana to establish the letters of credit for the procurement of 1,840 units of agricultural machineries and equipment. These include tractors, trailers, power tillers, plows, cultivators, seed drills, sprayers, fertilizer spreaders, and combine harvesters, which will significantly improve farm productivity, reduce production costs, and enhance food security. Mr. Speaker, cocoa sector reforms. Right Honorable Speaker, the cocoa sector remains a cornerstone of Ghana's economy. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is serving as a major source of export earnings and livelihood for millions of Ghanaians, particularly in rural Ghana. Mr. Speaker, since the enactment of the Ghana Cocoa Board Act 1984, PNDC Law 81, the Ghana cocoa industry has undergone significant transformation. To modernize the governance and financing of the sector, government will submit a new Cocoa Board Bill to Parliament to repeal and replace the Ghana Cocoa Board Act 1984, PNDC Law 81. Mr. Speaker, the proposed legislation will introduce a new producer pricing mechanism that aligns producer price with movement in international cocoa price, exchange rate development, and other relevant market conditions. We will also guarantee the cocoa farmer not less than 70% of gross free on board price. Mr. Speaker, we will also seek to establish a new financing framework for cocoa purchases and related operations and restore the long-term financial sustainability and operational efficiency of Ghana Cocoa Board. The bill will also ensure that not less than 50% of cocoa beans produced in Ghana is processed here in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we will also restrain Ghana Cocoa Board from taking part in quasi-fiscal activities. Right Honorable Speaker, Mr. Speaker, these reforms will place Ghana's cocoa sector on a stronger financial footing, improve returns to cocoa farmer, ensure value addition, and position the industry for sustainable long-term growth. So, Speaker, I now take you to transforming secondary education and eliminating the double track. Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana the education remains one of the most powerful investments we can make in the future of our country. Government is therefore taking bold steps to transform secondary education through a $300 million United States dollar World Bank financing. Mr. Speaker, under this $300 million United States dollar World Bank financing initiative, government will undertake 210 major infrastructure interventions across the country. These include, Mr. Speaker, we are building 10 new secondary schools. Right Honorable Speaker, we will rehabilitate 150 secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, we are upgrading 30 Category C secondary schools to become a Category B school. Mr. Speaker, aside, we are also upgrading 20 Category B schools to be part of Category A. Mr. Speaker, we are also going to procure furniture to support these schools that we are upgrading and ensure that every school child going to any of our secondary schools benefits from textbooks free of charge. Mr. Speaker, 10 new secondary schools will be strategically distributed to improve access in the underserved areas. One new school each will be constructed in Western North, Greater Accra, Volta, Oti, Northern, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, and Central Region. Mr. Speaker, upon completion, the project is expected to benefit about 2.3 million students, over 100,000 teachers, and about 2,000 school leaders across the country. The project will support government effort to eliminate the double track within 2 calendar years. Mr. Speaker, improved learning outcomes, particularly in mathematics and science, expand female participation in STEM and TVET education, and equip our young people with the digital, technical, and green skills required for the jobs of the future. So, Speaker, I now take you to free primary health care. Right, Honorable Speaker, government remains committed to ensuring that every Ghanaian has access to quality primary health care, regardless of income or location. Following the launch of the free primary health care policy in April 2026, the first phase of implementation is targeting 150 underserved districts across the country. Mr. Speaker, government has distributed more than 24,000 pieces of medical equipment to strengthen diagnostics, emergency, maternal, and neonatal care. Mr. Speaker, we have also deployed motorbikes, tricycles, and mobile outreach equipment to improve healthcare delivery in hard-to-reach communities. In addition, community screening for hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and other non-communicable diseases has been expanded, while the establishment of health kiosks, container-based health posts, and upgrading of existing primary healthcare facilities are underway. Women's Development Bank, Mr. Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. Government has made progress towards the establishment of the Women's Development Bank. On the 26th of January 2026, the bank was formally incorporated as WDB Ghana Limited. Mr. Speaker, following its incorporation, government applied to the Bank of Ghana for the requisite banking license to enable the bank commence operations. Mr. Speaker, in fulfillment of the capital requirement for licensing, the Ministry of Finance has deposited an amount of 400 million Ghana cedis into an account with the Bank of Ghana as the initial capital for the Women's Development Bank. Mr. Speaker, the Women's Development Bank is expected to commence full operations before the end of this year. Mr. Speaker, and I'll bring you to the conclusion. Right, Honorable Speaker. In recent times, a narrative has emerged suggesting that this government is not spending enough. Mr. Speaker, nothing can be further from the truth. Far from standing still, we have been steadily and responsibly deploying resources guided by the simple but firm principle that we can only spend only what we have, and we spend it wisely and with the future of our nation in view. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of transparency and accountability, allow me to lay before this House a clear account of some of the expenditure we have made so far to support government programs across the sectors approved in the 2026 budget. Mr. Speaker, first, to compensate public sector workers, an amount of 48.8 billion Ghana cedis for compensation of employees has been paid, including 4 billion Ghana cedis as contribution to SNIT and 2 billion Ghana cedis as Tier 2 pension scheme. Mr. Speaker, to honor our debt obligation, an amount of 21.5 billion for interest has been paid. To honor our international debt obligation, an amount of $700 million for Eurobond debt service and interest have also been paid. To restore confidence on our financial systems, an amount of 10 billion Ghana cedis to domestic bondholders has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to deepen fiscal decentralization, an amount of 4.4 billion cedis to the District Assembly's Common Fund, representing the first 2 quarters of the year, has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to keep the National Health Insurance Scheme strong and vibrant, an amount of 4.5 billion Ghana cedis has been paid. To strengthen specialized health care, an amount of 1.1 billion Ghana cedis to Mahama Cares has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to support quality and access education and accessible education, an amount of 4.2 billion Ghana cedis for the first 6 months of the year to the Ghana Education Trust Fund, GET Fund, has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to strengthen free secondary education program and ease the burden on families, and an amount of 1.8 billion cedis to the free secondary education program has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to improve road maintenance, an amount of 1.7 billion Ghana cedis to the Road Maintenance Trust Fund has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to support job creation for young people, an amount of 459 million Ghana cedis to the Youth Employment Agency has been paid. Mr. Speaker, again to support petroleum sector, an amount of 961 million Ghana cedis to the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to promote development in mining communities and mining institutions, an amount of 458 million to the Mineral Development Fund has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to keep the light on across the country, an amount of 7.1 billion Ghana cedis to the energy sector for stable power supply has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to clear legacy arrests, to clear your arrests, Mr. Speaker, an amount of 5.3 billion Ghana cedis has been paid to, Mr. Speaker, to give remaining to free compulsory basic education, an amount of 76 million Ghana cedis as capitation grant has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to support the most vulnerable in our society, an amount of 485 million Ghana cedis to LEAP beneficiaries has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to provide nutritious meal and keep our children in school, an amount of 877 million to the Ghana School Feeding Program has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to ease the burden on families, an amount of 46 million for BEC registration has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to remove financial barriers to tertiary education, an amount of 537 million for the no-fee stress policy has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to support teachers, the teacher trainees, an amount of 104 million as teacher training allowance has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to support nursing training, an amount of 144 million as nursing training allowance has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to strengthen grassroots governance, an amount of 93 million as assembly members allowance has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to promote skills development and entrepreneur, an amount of 45 million for the National Apprenticeship Program has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to support Ghana's participation in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, an amount of 58 million has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to support environmental sustainability, an amount of 477.4 million to ARICOPS has been paid. Mr. Speaker, in fulfillment of our campaign promise, an amount of 1.1 billion Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture for flagship programs, including food buffer stock, fertilizers, certified seed distribution, Feed Ghana, irrigation infrastructure has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to modernize agriculture, to modernize agriculture through the establishment of the Farmer Service Center. An amount of 551 million into an escrow account for the establishment of a letter of credit has been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to support infrastructure development, an amount of 11.5 billion Ghana cedis as capital expenditure has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to improve road infrastructure, an amount of 6.5 billion Ghana cedis for the Big Push infrastructure program has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to support education delivery, an amount of 915 million for goods and services under the Ministry of Education, including sanitary pads, has been paid. Mr. Speaker, to ensure smooth and effective functioning of government, an amount of 7.9 billion Ghana cedis for goods and services have been paid. Right, Honorable Speaker, to protect our rivers, forest reserves, and agricultural lands against the Galamsey menace, an amount of 16 million to the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has been paid. Mr. Speaker, permit me to end where I began, not with numbers, but with reflection. Mr. Speaker, permit me to end where I began, not with a number, but with a reflection. Right, Honorable Speaker, before this administration took office, this country stood at the edge of an economic cliff. The city was in free fall. Inflation has raised 50%. Our sovereign debt rated junk. Our access to the world capital market had been cut off. And for the 17th time in our history, Ghana turned to the IMF for a bailout. Mr. Speaker, that was the Ghana we inherited. Today, inflation stands at 5.3%. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, has stabilized. Economic growth is above 6% and broad-based. Our debt to GDP is now 45%, years ahead of schedule. The primary balance is in surplus, not in deficit. Interest rates have declined significantly, and Ghana has successfully completed the final review of the IMF bailout program. Mr. Speaker, we promised to move this economy from the emergency room to the wellness center. Mr. Speaker, we have kept that promise. Mr. Speaker, I give this House my firm assurance this economy will never return to the emergency room under our watch. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to give this House my firm assurance that this economy will never return to the emergency room under our watch. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. These achievements do not belong to government. They belong to the people of Ghana. Behind every number in this statement is the sacrifice of an ordinary Ghanaian. The pensioner who accepted painful and crude haircuts on a lifetime savings. The bank and businesses that absorbed extraordinary losses and costs. Millions of citizens who endured difficult adjustments so that their country could recover. And the market trader, the nurse, the teacher, the entrepreneur, and the young graduate who lived through some of the hardest months in our recent history and never gave up on his country. Mr. Speaker, Stabilization was not won in this chamber alone. It was won in homes, on farms, in workshops, in marketplaces, and through the patience and resilience of the Ghanaian people. This administration will never take that sacrifice for granted. Mr. Speaker, we know that inflation alone does not refill an empty pot. We know that a stronger city does not instantly repair a household budget stretched by years of economic mismanagement and crisis. And we also know that there is still a distance between recovery and a relief at the kitchen table. But we also know this, Mr. Speaker, your sacrifice was not in vain. It secures something priceless, a firm foundation for our dear country. And on that foundation, we will build the Ghana we want. Mr. Speaker, to every Ghanaian who endured, to the market woman in Kejitia, the farmer in Busunu, the teacher in Wa, the entrepreneur in Sekendi Takrade, and every young person still searching for the opportunity they deserve, I say, on behalf of His Excellency President Mahama, thank you. Your sacrifice is the reason Ghana is standing today. Your future is the reason we refuse to stop here. Mr. Speaker, let me now speak the hard truth that discipline demands. Right Honorable Speaker, stability is not a trophy to be won once and displayed forever. It is a garden. It must be tended every single day or we lose it. Ghana has traveled this road before. We have stabilized, celebrated, relaxed, and unfortunately relapsed. 17 times we turned to the IMF for a bailout. We are determined that the 17th time shall be the last. But that determination cannot rest on the shoulders of the government alone. This is my call to every Ghanaian. The gains we have secured are national gains. They demand a national commitment to protect them. Mr. Speaker, it means paying your taxes so that our schools, hospitals, roads are financed increasingly from our own resources rather than by unsustainable borrowings. It means demanding value for money for every cedi of public expenditure and refusing to look away when public resources are wasted. Mr. Speaker, it means holding this government and every government that follows to the fiscal rules we have written into law. Mr. Speaker, fiscal discipline can no longer be a policy of a minister. It must become the culture of our country. Mr. Speaker, stabilization can never be the destination. Stabilization was never the destination. It was only the price of entry. Ghana has paid that price. What comes next is the work that changes life at scale, the work of transformation. Through the new economy that His Excellency President Mahama will unveil, we will build an economy that does not merely withstand shocks, but create jobs, generate wealth, and grow on the strength of what Ghana produces. Mr. Speaker, the true measure of a finance minister is not how much he spends, but how faithful he protects the resources entrusted to him. Right, Honorable Speaker. The true measure of a finance minister is not how much he spends, but how faithful he protects the resources entrusted to him. The money we manage does not belong to those entrusted to manage it. It belongs to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it belongs to you and belongs to all of us. Every cedi collected in taxes, every cedi borrowed, and every cedi spent carries with it a sacred obligation to use it wisely, honestly, and always in the national interest. My assurance to this House and to every Ghanaian is simple: your money is safe. your money is safe. Under the leadership of President Mahama, your economy is in safe hands. And as long as I have the honor to serve as Minister for Finance, it will remain so. Mr. Speaker, I pledge to level with you always. I will tell you the truth about the state of the public finances, whether the news is welcoming or difficult. We will never conceal our challenges or exaggerate our successes. Trust is about the truth, and truth must remain the foundation of sound economic management. Our responsibility now is not merely to celebrate these gains, but to preserve them for future generations. Economic stability is not an event. It is a duty renewed every day through prudent stewardship, fiscal discipline, and unwavering accountability. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is not going back. Under the leadership of His Excellency President Mahama and with the determination of the Ghanaian people, Ghana is moving forward steadily, honestly, and together. Mr. Speaker, with these remarks, I respectfully submit the 2026 mid-year fiscal policy review of the budget statement and economic policy of government to this House for consideration. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
All right, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasla Tuforsen, just presenting the mid-year budget review. We had members of the majority chant there, Ato is forcing, but he sounded pretty confident about the prospects of the economy. I just want to pick on three things. I mean, because we've been talking about taxes, the minister outlining measures to boost revenue without increasing taxes. These include an ambitious VAT reform, the rollout of fiscal electronic devices, a VAT reward scheme, tighter customs enforcement, electronic inventory systems for bonded warehouses, so much more. Also, he's been speaking about the IMF PCI, the technical framework. He says government expects the IMF board to approve the 37-month policy coordination instrument, which will guide the next phase of reforms to 26 policy targets. So, I mean, in summary, the government pretty confident about where the economy is going. Government's position is that the foundations for macroeconomic stability have been restored, fiscal discipline is taking a hold, and the focus now shifts from stabilization to sustaining growth, protecting gains, and deepening structural reforms. We'll be getting reactions from Parliament to the Finance Minister's presentation. As you'd anticipate, the place is going to get animated, as is on your screen right now. We are going to hear chants from the majority, the minority. Hopefully, we'll hear from the minority side what they make of the Finance Minister's presentation. But I just want to pick quick reactions in the studio from our guests. I want to begin with Mark Bedoabaje, since taxes were top of the agenda before we listen to the Finance Minister. Your reaction to the tax measures announced?
Well, obviously, we're not expecting that a new tax will be introduced, and as I've said, since one, the rate will be increased. So we're monitoring to see what will happen. I think these are measures just to block the loopholes and ensure that we rake in revenue from existing taxes. So for me, I think it's something that we support. If there is a way to expand the net, there is a way to block the holes so that those who are not paying will now get to pay for us to increase the tax revenue. I think it's a good. I mean,
what were you looking out for in the budget, and are you satisfied with what you've heard from the finance?
Well, largely, I think that let me say it's fair because I was looking at how we're going to consolidate the macroeconomic stability that we have enjoyed over the period. Mm-hmm. And it looks like we are likely to achieve all the target that we have set for ourselves. I mean, they are well aligned. Inflation, I'm obvious. I'm optimistic that we are going to achieve the target of the 8 plus or minus 2. The budget surplus, I'm sure we will be able to achieve it. So we are consolidating the gains. It's well anchored. Unless there is a external force that will be so strong to derail the gains that we have made, I think we are on course. I heard a lot about investment in the energy sector. Mm-hmm. We have complained about cost of energy and even reliability. So I'm expecting that all those investments will translate into a lower cost of energy for businesses, and also reliable supply of energy. So this is something that we'll be monitoring critically to see that we achieve that. The women banking, I mean, the statement is too vague. I mean, at the end of the year, I was expecting a definite statement to say that, because we've gone far, and I think they have planned all these things. So giving us, if not the exact date, at least a month that all of us will be looking up to see the women banking being operational, because something that our women are looking up to. For the chamber, we have a women wing, and one of the questions they keep asking is that, when is the women banking coming? When is it coming? So if it has been established, we want a definite statement that, of course, will put us on preparation for that. The preparation, the DDEP, I think, is one of the areas.
Sorry, apologies. I just wanted to listen to what's going on right now in Parliament.
Honourable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members will listen to each other in silence.
Mr. Speaker, the Finance Minister has just told this House that the true character of a Finance Minister is not determined by how much he spends. Such a statement must cause palpitation among ministers of state. Mr. Speaker, basically, what he is telling all ministers, that he is not going to spend, he is not going to release funds to you. Mr. Speaker, already you are suffering and you've been redundant in your various ministries. His deputy minister told the nation that 1.6 billion was released to the Agric minister. Today, he says only 1.1 billion. You see, the true measure of a finance minister is not how much he spends. Mr. Speaker, throughout his review, there was no policy announcement for the cocoa sector. The 4 million farmers, the 4 million cocoa farmers are suffering. This finance minister, since he took over as a supervising minister responsible for cocoa, we have seen suffering and wailing, and he comes here to lament. Mr. Speaker, he talks about determining the true cost of economic policy. The true cost. He's talking about having met some debt. What he has forgotten, that he refused good counsel from the minority. When Gold Board and Bank of Ghana charges on the gold for reserve policy was at 15%, we cautioned. He didn't listen. Later, IMF forced them to reduce it to 9%. 3 days ago, the governor announced that he was no more going to participate in this gold for reserve. It's too late in the day. You've already incurred losses of 9.6 billion. That is what the IMF told you. And you come here, you're saying prudent management of the economy. Really? Mr. Speaker, this review is full of English with empty payment. The payment, he said, is done. He said they've done some payment. Why didn't he give us details? You paid your party members. You paid your party members. The monies have gone to your party members. And Mr. Speaker, the Nkukon Kitinkiti project has now become protein.
Our members, I insist we listen to each other in silence.
The Nkukon Kitinkiti has become protein for your party executives. They are all cooking Akukon Kwine. It is now Akukon Kwine. Mr. Speaker, I want the finance minister to walk the talk. If you come here and you say 24-hour market, 24-hour market at 42 million cities, and you've abandoned the Agenda 111. The hospitals, that should be your priority. You are not constructing the hospitals. Then you are spending a whooping sum of 42 million, and you say you release 80% to the assemblies. Mr. Speaker, meanwhile, you are using the assemblies, their own allocation, to pay for the 24-hour economy. When there are no hospitals, how do you say you are constructing markets? Mr. Speaker, this review is uninspiring. There is no inspiration. What we are experiencing in this country is persecution, persecution, persecution. For the first time, we are seeing political imprisonment. Who to me is a political prisoner. Mr. Speaker, Camilla Al-Hassan, a young mother of 3, is also a political prisoner, telling you how intolerant you are, and you are here telling us you are running an economy. You want this to be a one-sided parliament. When people criticize you, you threaten them. A lot of my MPs here have been threatened. You are threatening members of parliament with prosecution. Let me serve a warning to the Attorney General that the ravening clouds shall no longer be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. Be careful. 2028, you'll be in opposition. 2028. If you are not careful, Mr. Speaker, if you don't stop now, you go and meet Wontumi there, and Wontumi will be out, and you will go in. So I'm advising you, let us all be measured. We welcome the reforms by the finance minister. And for the first time, he did something patriotic by acknowledging the digitalization reforms we introduced in government payments. Today he has acknowledged it. Mr. Speaker, we commend you for acknowledging MPP. We commend you, but you can do better. Tell your government to free all political prisoners. Dr. Atuforsen, tell your government to free all political prisoners. Wound to me deserve justice. Camilla Al-Assad deserve justice. The MPs behind me that you have lined them up for persecution. Listen, you can decide to imprison every MP. It will not shut us down. We will criticize you. We will hold your feet to account and we'll make sure you account for every city you spend. But you know what? The good news is that you are on your way to opposition. You are on your way to opposition. So you should begin thinking. You should begin thinking deep. Because there is one cells, one prison will not be locked up. It will open widely for you. It will swallow many of you. From what we are seeing in public procurement, your situation will be worse. So be careful, those of you who are comfortable. And finally, you claim you want a third term. Third term. You are not performing. You say third term. Atuforsen, you are here presenting a budget. And beneath it is a third term agenda where you are going to spend money for people to be calling for third term. We are watching you with eagle eyes. Third term, focus on 24-hour economy. You promise one job, 3 shifts. You promise industrialization. Ghanaian businesses have lost confidence in you. You cancelled the 1D, 1F, which was creating opportunity for the private sector. In its place, no policy alternative. Electricity tariffs have gone up over almost 30%. Then you get up, you say you are promoting 24-hour economy. You have sacked public sector workers. Many of the Ghanaian youth lost their jobs. You sacked them. Today you are here. Instead of promising to restore them into their rightful places in the job market, you are not doing so. Then you come, you say we should praise you. Who is going to praise you? If you don't pay and you are holding the money and then you are there tightening belt and only paying your party members, then we should praise you. We are not interested in the books. We are interested in the economy in our pockets. People are suffering, Mr. Speaker. People need jobs. Your youth, even your MPs, they are praising you here. A lot of them are hungry. Your backbenchers, they can't go back home. Your backbenchers, and you hear you say we should praise you. We will not praise you. It is the same old story. Asem Dadana, Mrs. Sai, again, Asem Dadana, Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
honorable members, let's listen to each other in silence. I insist that we listen to each other in silence. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me, on behalf of the House, thank the Finance Minister for presenting a mid-year review of the budget which this House approved and authorized him to execute. And Mr. Speaker, I must say that the Finance Minister has given a very good account of himself. Mr. Speaker, just to correct the records, there is no inconsistency between what the Finance Minister said and what his deputy mentioned some time ago. His deputy mentioned that he had given a release of 1.1 billion, 1.6 billion. Today, the Finance Minister reported that he has given 1.1 billion to the Ministry of Agriculture and he also paid 551 million for Farmer Services Center. If you put the two together, that's 1.6. That's one. It was presented. You see, the good thing about this media report. The good thing about this media report.
Honorable members, for once, let's listen to each other in silence. Honorable members, please.
The good thing about this report is that it was presented live on national television. Everybody was watching and they saw the figures projected. So if the minority leader engages in a slip of tongue, it is important for me to I just thought I should correct that. I know that he did not benefit from going to Fufusu Primary School. So his mathematics might not be as good as Honorable Gina Post's mathematics. When you add 551 to 1.1, you get 1.6. So the Finance Minister and his deputy presented an accurate figure. But Mr. Speaker, we were in this country, in this parliament, and there was a finance minister who told us that he could not run this economy without taxing our Momo transfers. That he could not run this economy without taxing our Momo transfers. A finance minister who could not run the economy without going for debts. Today, we have a finance minister who has abolished all those taxes, and yet he is successfully managing our economy. We have a finance minister who is not borrowing recklessly, but is successfully managing our economy. That is why I said that this finance minister has clearly given a good account of himself. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians are struggling, working day and night to pay the debts, to fix the economy. Like the minister has indicated, ordinary Ghanaians are making sacrifices. Where is the man who put us in the debt? Where is Ken Ofori-Atta? After borrowing recklessly, creating the debts, he has gone and he is hiding in the United States of America. We must bring Ken Ofori-Atta back. Ken Ofori-Atta should be brought back to come and account to the good people of Ghana why he so grossly mismanaged our finances and left ordinary Ghanaians to struggle and fix the economy whilst he enjoys in the United States of America. And this is a man who was presented by the NPP as a finance minister. And the same people are telling Ghanaians that they should be brought back to power. So that you do what with power? You will bring Ken Ofori-Atta back and he will come and be building cathedrals. Mr. Speaker, this media report clearly indicates that the cathedral project is not ongoing. Mr. Speaker, what is ongoing is the construction of new schools. What is ongoing is the improvement of existing schools. What is ongoing is the improvement of the quality of schools. This media report shows that what is ongoing is the construction of roads, the construction of bridges never seen in the history of Ghana before. Mr. Speaker, this finance minister has indeed given a good account of himself. And that is why this House must commend him highly. Mr. Speaker, clearly, under this finance minister, Ghana is working again. Mr. Speaker, I believe that with Dr. Ato Forson managing our economy, we can all go to sleep with two eyes closed because he will deliver. Mr. Speaker, as for the issues that my friends in the minority have raised, I am surprised that when we have been presented with a mid-year review of the budget, we are seeking to castigate the judiciary of this country. You are castigating the judiciary because it is not the Attorney General who convicted Wontumi. It is not Ato Forson who convicted Wontumi. It is a judge who convicted Wontumi. So the place to go to is the court where he has been convicted. Go and fight your case in the court. I have full confidence in the judiciary. And I know that if you go there and you forum to discuss Wontumi. It won't be fair to Wontumi for us to make him the subject matter of debate. So, Mr. Speaker, let me join this House to commend the finance minister and to assure the finance minister of the support of this house, of the support of parliament as he continues to work and improve the finances and the economy. Finance Minister, this morning or this afternoon, you have laid a number of bills. You have laid a number of bills which we believe are all aimed at helping you achieve your various targets. This House will diligently go through the bills and ensure the passage of the bills. Mr. Speaker, why is the minority leader thinking that he should take the same time as myself? I speak for 189 people. I speak for 189 people. You speak for how many people? Let's count them. How many are they? How many are they? How can the person who speaks for 189 share the same time as the person who speaks for 87? How does that happen? How does the person who speaks for only 87 have the same time as the person who speaks for 189? Mr. Speaker, so be measured in terms of what you ask for.
Honorable.
Look at your size when you're asking for material.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Majority Leader, they will still keep your time for you. Yes, Minority Leader. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there was a clear understanding of 10 minutes each. I complied with it. The clerk communicated. And Mr. Speaker, we were both time, the majority leader's time ended. And then he was given additional time. Mr. Speaker, I was going to talk about the free SHS that they couldn't implement with internally generated funds, and now they are going to borrow. But I held back. Mr. Speaker, just exiting IMF, they've gone for 1 billion cedis. I kept quiet. Mr. Speaker, $1 billion. But because I wanted to act within time, I acted within time. And now the majority leader has been given extended time. And all he says is that he needs 189, which will soon dissipate. Mr. Speaker, I think the right time for debate will come. He should try and end this so that we delve into the issues, because the finance minister for 2 hours on his sparring message.
Minority Leader, with all due respect,
all I want to say.
Let me bring it to your attention that I am not the timekeeper. They are keeping the time up there, which would automatically cut at 10 minutes. I think the clerk can attest to that. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, if you observe, for most of the time I was on my feet. I was not talking because you were making a lot of noise and heckling. So I was quiet. If you observe, you see, when you heckle and I shout back at you, I haven't respected you. The reason is that there's a proverb among my people, but I will not use that proverb. So please, when you are talking, I keep quiet because I respect you. I have to listen to you. If you are talking across, and I'm also talking across. We are not listening to each other. And the children who are watching from home will be learning a very bad lesson. That's why anytime you start, I keep quiet. That was what ate into my time. If not, strictly speaking, I did not even speak for up to 5 minutes. Strictly speaking. And I have a strategy where when a finance minister comes and delivers a very, very sweet message, I don't want to dilute it. I don't want to dilute it. I know the strategy of my friend opposite is to take attention away from this beautiful message to Chairman Wontumi. That's the strategy. If I follow him along that line, I would have assisted him to achieve his objective. So I will not discuss those matters. So let us leave it here. We'll have the time to comment on the statement. In fact, about 2 or 3 days to comment on the statement. At the level of leadership, we'll discuss the time allotment. The proposal is that we start the commentary tomorrow. Will we be sufficiently prepared to start tomorrow? Yeah. It's obvious that you are not ready now. Because when you were given the opportunity, you were talking about Wontumi. When you are given the opportunity, you are talking about Wontumi instead of the media statement. So you are clearly not yet ready. So we'll make copies available to you. When you read that, you might see that it has nothing to do with Wontumi. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Honourable members, we defer further comment on the statement. We then turn to order paper addendum 2. At commencement of public business, presentation of papers. Yes. Yes, we are now coming to do presentation of those papers. Yes,
Mr. Speaker, with respect, just for your guidance, the statement that the finance minister...
Yeah, the statement has been duly laid.
Yeah, no, Mr. Speaker, where he first laid it, Mr. Speaker, there is a particular spot where such important public documents are laid. Mr. Speaker, I am interested in when it was laid. Where it has shifted to, I'm not interested. Mr. Speaker, it is curious to find that the government MPs are going out now, and they are not even in white, because they find the statement uninspiring. The last time they came in white, and now all of them are running away. You see, Mr. Speaker, all of them are going out. I said it. All of them are leaving. They are not even well attired in their usual white, because there's no inspiration. If you see the mixture of dresses, multicolored dresses, there's no white, no inspiration. They are all leaving. The budget is empty. They are all leaving, Mr. Speaker.
With all due respect, the table is the table of the House, and it's very long. The clerk is in charge. Honorable Minister responsible for finance, you may now lay item numbered 1 on the order paper addendum 2.
Request for a multi-year expenditure commitment to engage a service provider to assist with the implementation of the fiscal